Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 12th episode of Screaming into the Void, where we talk about whatever the hell we want to. Off the top, I'm just going to say this right now. I got a live stream tonight with Linus, and we're going to go over politics then. I did a 2.5 hour solo stream last night talking about politics. Guess what we're not doing today?
You say that,
But
but
it's gonna come up.
Yeah, it is, but just generally in a natural, organic way, I'm okay with that. I don't I'd rather not force it today. Um, so that said, I'm Samuel the Infamous, and with me as always is Maesterchow,
party on, Wayne.
Party on Garth, and also with us as always is Cat Hates Amazon Prime.
That's good.
Yeah, I need to make a statement, and this is the best way to do it. Kate, I hate Amazon Prime. I really hate Amazon Prime.
Yeah, they're actually they're a little bit worse even than Netflix is when it comes to like chopping good shows and promoting bad ones.
I just find it hilarious, and I mean, I'm going off topic. Just hilarious that I go into Amazon Fresh, and because first of all, they got rid of the Fairway, which sucks because the Fairway was great. The Fairway was wonderful. And they are giving out free little reusable grocery bags that say Rings of Power on it. I refused. I would not take one,
Good.
even though it was free.
No,
That's communism in a bag.
Ozzy, come back tonight. Go check out the other stream. It is being talked about, just not like in this location as of such. Although that is a hilarious nickname.
Right.
Oh, God, that's awesome. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, we'll leave PJ out of this for now.
Yeah. So, that said, so one of the greatest sci-fi franchises of all time, in my personal humble opinion, I know a lot of people, their immediate response is, oh, it's got to be Star Wars, right? Well, first of all, Star Wars isn't science fiction. It's science fantasy. Secondly, they'll say
Star Wars is space opera. Let's just get that right. All right.
Well, it follows a standard, fantasy journey. You know, you got a farm boy, right? He meets up with an old wise man, and they run off with a ruffian to go save a princess from a wizard.
No, well,
it's a space fantasy.
Well, no, because I took a creative writing class in college at one point, and the definition of fantasy and science fiction. Science fiction is something that could potentially be possible. So far future Star Trek is hardcore science fiction because everything in Star Trek potentially has the possibility of existing. Fantasy is stuff that can never happen, which is why Star Wars space magic is the reason why it's considered fantasy. Destiny with the Traveler is iffy because it's supposedly technology, whereas Warframe with the Void is also kind of iffy, but space magic is still fantasy.
Hey, you never know. There could be some symbiotic life form out there that gives you magical space wizard powers. It's possible. Don't knock until you try it.
True. Okay.
Happen. And Carrie, I generally don't split those hairs either. I just do it with Star Wars because it pisses their fans off.
Yeah. Star Wars fans are easy to piss off too.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. And I'm not saying I don't like Star Wars. I do. It's just not, in my opinion, the greatest. I mean, obviously, from an economic standpoint, it's one of the ones that's done the best. It's one of the most well known, sure. But in terms of quality, I think it's especially since Disney bought it, it's just gone straight down the crapper. And a lot of stuff that happened with Star Wars, like in the early years in the 70s, a lot of that innovation that they did at that time was like fly by the seat of your pants. We got to make this thing, so let's just cobble it together and make it work. Kind of ingenuity. That was some good shit. It was impressive. I applaud those guys, and they also paved the way for everybody else. So I'm not knocking their contributions. But and then obviously Star Trek would be the other major sci-fi franchise that people think of. Now normally people will I think in our chat here they'd probably disagree, but most people wouldn't think of Dune immediately.
No, I haven't.
I would.
Yes, you would. And I think we have a number of people in our chat here, Ozzy and Carrie in particular. Carrie knows his Dune. Um, but I mean, it is a franchise, but it's not as popular with the nerds.
Right, right.
You know,
Well, yet. I mean, now that you've got, Jason Momoa in there, it'll be more popular. Don't worry.
yeah, but I mean, like the thing itself is more of a how do I say? It's a little more cerebral than
Well,
Star Wars.
yeah,
Yes.
but
Star
it
Wars is
also takes
flashy.
place along, a multiple thousands of year timeline. I mean, the Dune universe is massive. I mean, it makes everything else look like a little blip. Frank Herbert poured a lot into that,
Those books look like dictionaries. I used to work in a
and
library.
but they are amazing. I mean, all right, I'll admit Dune is kind of tough to chew through like the first time, but everything after that, really, really good stuff. Like especially when they're dealing with the God Emperor Leto II, amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I mean, it is good stuff. It is, but for my money, and there's several sci-fi fandoms that I'm a part of. I love Eureka. I love
Yeah.
Firefly. I very much love those franchises, but my personal favorite, the one that really does it for me, is Stargate.
Yes.
So,
So I'm impressed you know Eureka. I don't know a lot of people who know about Eureka. I
oh man, that
watched
show was
Eureka.
great.
I caught a couple episodes. I didn't watch a lot of it though.
Yeah, it
I,
kind of falls off a little in the fourth season, but up until then, yeah, it's a great show. Think a much more tech oriented, goofy version of the X Files.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So it's a
See,
town full of mad scientists.
and see, I watched a bunch of Warehouse 13, which was kind of similar.
They crossed over
yeah.
like two
Yeah.
or three times.
Yeah, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Warehouse. No, it was Warehouse 14.
Was it? I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
Warehouse
it was-
something or
it
other.
was 13. I thought.
It's been. You know what? I've got
How do I
IMDb
think
at my
it's 14?
fingertips. Why don't I
You're
look?
probably right. I don't know why I keep thinking 14, but it could be 13.
About to find
It's
out.
more.
We're about to
But
find
that
out.
was so good too.
Jason, are you referring to Jason Momoa, Ozzy? Because I'm pretty sure he's Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Hawaiian.
Yeah, but yeah,
It's
you're
13.
right.
Someone's
Since we
thinking.
bring him up, Stargate is where he got his start, and he was great in it. Kohai says it's 13.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, it is 13.
Okay, it's
So.
13. Then I don't know why I thought it was 14. I think at some point they do like rebuild it or something. So it's called still 13. I don't know. It's been a while.
Me.
See, that one I've only dipped into. I saw most of the first season, and then I've seen all the crossover stuff with Eureka. But and it was enjoyable. It was. I really liked Eureka a lot. It was a great show. But again, not my top sci-fi fandom, not my top franchise. That would be Stargate. And I'll take you back to 1994 when it was released. There was this itty bitty little theater in the town I was living in Colorado at the time, and I believe it's a friggin' coffee shop now. That building's gone through so many changes. It started out as a movie theater, and then it was a music venue, and then it was closed down for a while, and there was all kinds of stuff. Anyway, so I went to the theater. I was 13, 14 years old, and I walked in and I sat down and watched the movie. And the first time they stepped through the wormhole. Right, I was right in a second or third seat from the front. It was like I went through the wormhole. A shitty little theater with the old seats that are kind of ratty and all that. But it blew me away. So I went back to see it in the theater 3 more times, and then 3 years later, Showtime debuted SG1, which actually was not able to see right away because I did not have cable at that point. It wasn't until later, but. Yeah, and I've been hooked on it ever since. And like I was telling you guys in the backstage, I have all 10 seasons of SG1 on DVD, all 5 seasons of Atlantis, both seasons of Universe, both of the made-for-TV Stargate SG1 movies that tie up the storylines at the end of the 10th season, and the director's cut of the initial theatrical release.
To which, again, I state, nerd.
Yeah, well, I would be more so if I had like the web series that they put out. They did the one about Catherine when having her own little adventure, and then magically didn't happen in the rest of the series. But or that really, really, really shitty Saturday morning cartoon they did for like one season.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
that was pretty terrible.
Hey, nerd and proud of it. Nerds are gonna rule the world. Now I don't have all of that stuff, but I definitely need to get my hands on all of that stuff eventually. Because
Yeah, it's worth it. And I didn't buy it all at once. I bought it piecemeal, over a series of over about the course of a decade. So I ended up with all of it, and that's why my collection at a certain point, because you used to do these box sets for DVDs where they'd have a full size DVD case for each disc, and then they'd have like the larger box, and that was one season. So for the first 8 seasons, I have those boxes, and then for seasons 9 and 10 of SG1, they went to the slim cases, and so it totally throws off the look of my collection.
Yeah, it looks kind of ridiculous.
well, because I watched them. I used to work in a public library. The reason I don't own them is because I worked in a public library, and I would be able to get them shipped to from our the town. The county libraries were all connected, so I never bought them because I would just borrow them from the library. But now I don't work at the library, so I need to get them. I just got the A Team seasons 1 through 5 on Blu-ray.
Nice.
No,
Best.
fair enough. I think currently SG1 is available in its entirety on Netflix, and Atlantis is on Hulu. As far as Universe goes, I don't know where the hell you can watch that live.
I have no idea. I mean, it used to be on Amazon, but
Hey, we got somebody in the chat haven't seen in a minute. The Exiled Lioness here, everybody. Hi, Amira. Welcome.
howdy.
We're geeking out.
Your channel's been highly recommended to me. I haven't had a chance yet to watch, but it's been highly recommended to me.
Well, she's doing a live stream tonight. You're more than welcome to come.
Oh, cool.
Apparently, SGU is on Prime at the moment.
Is it?
Oh.
According to IMDb. Let me pull up Prime and I'll tell you for sure.
That's that would be cool. Well, I mean, you'd have to have 3 different streaming services, but you could, in theory, watch all of it. I mean, keep in mind it's
7 streaming services.
Yeah, well, keep in mind it's 17 seasons of television.
Well, on Best Buy, because I tend to go to Best Buy for prices simply because Best Buy doesn't have third party. So the advantage about Best Buy is you don't have to worry about, what they have is the retail price. It's $9.99 per season of Stargate. I might start ordering a couple of those, slowly. Yeah,
no, it's quite good stuff. But that's why we're always talking about preserving your physical media. All this stuff being available digitally at our fingertips it can be a wonderful thing. But they're already altering some stuff. Who's done it?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. My discs come from an era before streaming was a thing. So, they're pristine. They're in, and not by pristine, I watched them a bunch. They're not in great condition, but I can watch the show without having to worry about it being altered by a third party.
Yeah.
Sam, do you have the original Aladdin from Disney on VHS?
My ex-wife does.
Okay. I actually need to see if Mom and Dad still have it because I was watching it the other night. Yes, I still have Disney Plus. Don't at me, bro. But I was watching it, and the song that they sing at the beginning, Arabian Nights, they changed the damn lyrics, and it pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's supposed to be where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face, but now it's where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, that's stupid. That is stupid. No one gave a shit about the temperature out there, all right? But they did give a shit if you were ugly. They cut your damn ear off, all right? Leave it alone.
That's why I don't have ears. Why do you think I got my head covered?
Yeah, well, that has a lot to do with the left's weird, and I know I said no politics, but here we go. The left's weird, like suckling at the teat of Islam while being completely hypocritical about the whole thing. But they obviously don't want to offend Muslims. So they cut that out because they think of it as a cultural stereotype. When in fact it's first of all, that's not their call, really.
And last I checked, it used to be a common practice. I mean,
I don't know because I
Saudi
know
was
my
a crazy place.
yeah, but I don't think they did the ear thing. My dad says they didn't, but I don't know for sure, and I don't want to say yes or no. But my dad says no, they didn't.
Right. I
But
know for sure they cut your hand off if you stole something. I
yeah,
mean,
and so one of the things so that and here we go into the politics. So one of the thing one no well one of the problems with the Middle East is they don't understand the subtlety and they don't really understand the religion itself. The problem is it's sort of like how with COVID, the whole idea was simply throw on a mask and they don't look at the detail and try to make it, it's easier to just have a band-aid solution. And it's like the hand cutting off thing, for example. I was asking my father about it because we were having people stealing to buy drugs from. So they'd steal from us and they'd go sell it to buy drugs. And I'm like, is that would that get your hand cut off? He's like, no. He's like, they have a sickness, they have a problem, they're stealing, and you need to help them. Stealing food. That's why in Aladdin, technically, when she steals the apple. No,
but
Allah.
if you think about it, rewind the clock a little ways, and food was a precious commodity back then. I mean, because you got to figure this happened probably in the mid
True.
10th or 11th century. I mean, it was a long,
Yeah,
long
Middle
time
East
ago.
can't separate culture from religion, and no, even a long time ago, based on what is said. A lot of the rules also. What's interesting is it's almost impossible for the circumstances to be met. So, for example, the idea of committing adultery and getting stoned, right? The thing is, you need 4 witnesses. Now, who's going to be committing adultery in front of 4 people? So, in a
Some
way,
some
it's like
really sick fucks.
yeah. So there's actually the story of a woman who approached the prophet and said she committed adultery, and she was wanted to be punished for it. And he said, "You're pregnant. It's not fair to punish the child and let the child be born." So he's like, "Come back after the child's been born." She came back to him. She's like, "Oh, because sometimes punishment in life is a way to relieve punishment in the hereafter." So she wanted to endure the punishment in life, so she wouldn't have to deal with it in the after. So he said, "No, the baby is still breastfeeding. Wait." And the thing is, the reason he kept telling her to leave wasn't because he wanted her to not come back. He didn't
Right.
want to inflict the punishment. So every time she would come back, he would come up with an excuse until finally he ran out of excuses. So a lot of the rules, that's why I'm saying they take the sledgehammer to it. Where they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you stole, you're going to get your head chopped off. It's like when you actually look at the rules, which requires an effort, your number of times you're really going to be chopping someone's hand off for theft are so rare and far between. Even in Saudi Arabia right now, the punishment for murder is you can have the person killed, or you can have the person pay the family who of the victim money, and it's
Right.
so rare. So, I mean, I'm not an expert scholar, but that's what What I've been when I ask people about it, they're like, "Yeah, that's the whole point." I don't know. I don't want
Hmm.
to.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, this is a good example of like leftist Hollywood not understanding what they're talking about, and then feeling all of a sudden like well, we can't say this thing or have that thing because it might offend somebody who didn't ask us to be offended on their behalf.
That's the thing that I really, because I've had people doing that for me. There was someone on Twitter who posted a picture of an Egyptian woman, and someone else was like, "You can't do that. You're not Egyptian." I'm like, "I'm Egyptian. I don't have a problem with it. Stop doing that." The family. Oh yes, I forgot about that. Yes, the family of the victim can also forgive. You're right. I forgot about that. There's 3 options if somebody murders someone, because in a way I actually like this better because like if someone were coming and murder, say my father, he's the primary financial person in the family. In America, the killer would just be put in jail and well, we're stuck. But you could demand you can demand money from the killer, have the killer be killed, or you can do the really high thing and forgive them. I forget. Yeah.
So we used to do this thing here in this country, especially out in the West. And this was a while back, mind you, the days of the stagecoach and whatnot. But somebody killed your family, you are within your rights to kill them back, just
Yep.
flat out. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Pull the Malcolm Reynolds philosophy. Someone tries to kill you, you kill them right back.
yeah, technically, duels are still legal in parts of this country.
Nice.
Now the rules are a little different. Like it's obviously it's a little more of a mutual combat kind of situation. Most of the time, it's not encouraged for it to be armed and lethal combat, but There are places in this country where you can still do that. Hell, in Wyoming, if you catch somebody stealing one of your horses, it is still legal. Now, this is not enforced by any means because you know it's an outdated law, but it's still legal that if you catch them, you can hang them on your property.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Now, if you don't hang them and then they get proven innocent in a court of law, then you owe the accused a horse, a gun, and $500, which at the time of that law
It's a
was
lot
a
of money.
lot of money. You know,
Yeah.
My only
Well,
issue.
there is a blue law in the books that when you get out of the penitentiary, they have to give you a horse, a gun, a box of bullets, a clean pair of underwear, a saddle, and $20 when you
Okay,
get out of the state pen.
I expect that if I ever end up in prison.
the clean pair of underwear would probably come in handy.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So I think my only issue is just the hypocrisy because
Mm.
the people still like. Someone was saying stuff about one guy on YouTube was saying like about the author who got attacked. And he's like, I know I have a lot of Muslim viewers. What are you doing about that? So you're saying I need to be Salman Rushdie's personal bodyguard? And how what am I supposed to do? On the other hand, if you replace the pride flag for the American flag, they throw. I mean, there's still. Sometimes people say things about Muslims, and it's like, but you're throwing a goddamn fit over a stupid pride flag, getting replaced by an American flag. I just don't like the hypocrisy. Personally, I believe in freedom of speech completely, which means if I want to post a pride flag getting burned, which I have the right to do that.
Mhm.
But so if that's why I've said if you want to draw a picture of the prophet, I don't care. I'm not looking it up. I don't like it, but I don't think it should be illegal. But why the hell do I have to worry about? Apparently, someone just got banned for making some video game got banned for making a comment Steam doesn't like.
Yeah, well,
I think they just want to ban people. I mean, the ban hammers are swinging, and none of us are immune. So that's why I try and stay away from a lot of online gaming. Like Final Fantasy 14 is the closest or the only thing I play online really anymore, unless I'm doing like Diablo 3. But it's kind of hard to get kicked off Diablo 3 because the only people you play with are the people you invite. And if you invite someone who's going to report you, that's kind of egg on your face.
Yeah. No, if I can't get into Final Fantasy 14, I've tried.
Oh, I love it.
I prefer Guild Wars 2.
See, I played Guild Wars 2 for a little while, and it wasn't bad. It just wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but I've been a Final Fantasy nerd since the first one released on the 8-bit NES. So I play all of them, and the first iteration of Final Fantasy 14 was absolute dog shit.
That's what I heard about the story behind
And
it.
I played that, and it was dog shit. But then they did a Realm Reborn where they completely restructured everything, rebuilt everything, and I gotta say, A, the graphics are absolutely gorgeous. B, the storyline is phenomenal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I have been riveted since day one with the storyline in the Realm Reborn. And now that we're at Endwalker, you get to go to the fucking moon. All right,
Okay, that's
literally go to the moon. It is amazing.
I
And
just don't like the combat. I can't get into
but
the
see,
combat.
the combat once you get over your GCD issues, it's fine. I mean, but the fact that most everything shares the global cooldown kind of makes it rough. But like I play a red mage, and it is so much fun because one, you're a ranged caster, and two, you're in their face melee fighter. So balancing those two,
Okay.
it's a phenomenal dance. It is the greatest. It is absolutely amazing. I cannot believe it. It's the best.
Yeah, that makes sense. As long as it's yours, that makes sense. I mean, as long as it's your property. So if I want to burn a flag, which I would never want to burn the United States flag, as long as I'm not stealing it from someone. I get that.
Weirdly
Yeah,
enough,
but
I actually have burned an American flag once. Not out of protest, actually out of respect. We retired the flag, and that's how you retire it: is you cut it into pieces and you burn it. So,
which is funny because technically that's what you're supposed to do with the Quran. People are like they burned a Quran. It's like actually, you're not supposed to throw it in the garbage. If it is damaged, you're supposed to burn it. I never understood that.
that's holy writ. I mean,
Yeah.
You wouldn't treat the word of any prophet or any religious text horribly and just throw it in the landfill to rot away because the word is supposed to be a living, breathing thing. You don't just leave it to rot.
Yeah, which is why I've seen Bibles getting thrown out. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Why? Are you not supposed to do that?
Right.
Well, I think a lot of the case in that case, a lot of people sometimes when they throw those out are just kind of hoping someone else will pick it up.
Though there was some pro-abortion people kicking a Bible around. And it's like, no, that's not even no, that's rude.
Yeah. One time I was in Salt Lake City. I was going to General Conference because, like I said, I was raised LDS, and twice a year they have General Conference where you get to listen to the prophet and the quorum of the 12 apostles, and the general leadership speak, and it's really fun. But as we were walking up, of course, there's protesters. There's protesters everywhere, and this dude had big old fat guy, big up beer gut, nasty grizzly Adams beard, looked like he hadn't showered in probably a week and a half. He's up there
Oh
screaming and
God.
railing, ripping up a Book of Mormon, saying how it's false and it's bullshit and it's this and that. And my sister looks over at me, and I didn't do anything. Apparently, I had this look in my eyes, like I was about to, jump across the street and stab that motherfucker in the face. And I wanted to. Boy, did I want to. It's
That's
fine to hate religions. It's fine to dislike them, but there's lines you don't cross. I would never disrespect someone's religion like that by taking one of their holy texts and just being like, fuck this, shredding the shit out of it,
I
throwing it
wouldn't do it
everywhere.
either. No, but that's the thing. You know, it's hard. Like I said, I don't like it when people draw the prophet. That to us is severe disrespect. We don't know what he looks like, and it could lead to idolatry if you have the image of someone. So
Right.
it's we're that's why if you go to a mosque, there's no pictures of anybody. On the other hand, I'm not as I said, I don't think it should be illegal because if you start censoring things, your negative your what is your popular opinion today could be the unpopular opinion tomorrow, and you'll be censored. So I don't think I don't believe in censorship. I don't, and that's gonna get me into trouble. I'm gonna be one of the first people when Biden has everyone lined up and shot. Yeah.
Well, move out west. I guarantee there's enough people who get defended.
I hope so.
Yeah, we
We're
take
crazy
our
bastards out here.
self-defense and our armaments very seriously out west. And by west, I mean not all the way west because those people are nuts.
Oh
But
God.
Like everything from the eastern edge of South Dakota to like the western edge of Idaho, you're pretty safe in there.
Wait, you just
Idaho's all right. Yeah.
wait. So one thing I just gotta say. So as someone who lives in New Jersey, I was arguing with my idiot brother. He's like public transportation, and I'm like, Habibi, you don't understand. The United States is big. He's like, no, we need to get rid of everything and use public transportation. And he's like, and it'll work, and they're doing it in certain areas of Texas and speed bullet trains. I'm like, Habibi, America is big. I mean, it's two other people who have more experience in the West. Am I wrong?
No,
What?
it's an hour commute for me to get to my job. All right, and that means, all right. I know what an hour commute is in New Jersey. You might go, 7-8 miles in an hour. Okay, but where I'm at, an hour commute for me, I'm literally driving 65 miles to get to my job.
Yeah, there's certain areas where it's like you don't understand. America is big. He's like, and the funny thing is that he's like, I rode the train to Baltimore. Oh wow, do you know what it's like to depend on public transportation? No, you don't.
Right. When I visited my friend in Canada, we took OC Transpo everywhere, and I am thankful I don't have to deal with the public transit system.
Yep. Yep. There was a columnist out of where is he from? He's from a small town in Wyoming, and he did a syndicated column throughout the state where he talked about like a different place in Wyoming every week. Because he'd drive around and visit places and learn the history and talk to the local people and all that stuff, and then he'd do a piece on them. And one of the things that he often said, and that others have echoed, that I think rings absolutely true, especially in places like Wyoming or Montana or the Dakotas, is that Wyoming is one small town with really long streets. Yeah.
I even used the example of Wyoming. I'm like, you don't understand how big it is. Though on the turning back, Stargate Atlantis is one of my favorites.
Yeah, we can go back to Stargate. Sorry, we really, really kind of got derailed there.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
bad.
Well, you know what? It happens, and that's the nature of conversation, and I am good with that.
Look, look,
That
look. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
And I was gonna say because I agree, Jersey is really bad. In fact, if you go to Newark Airport, you're gonna see T-shirts that say "I love New York." Newark is in New Jersey. Why are there New York T-shirts in New Jersey? You
You're on
need
the
I love.
Jersey side of this cesspool.
Yes. Anyway, that aside, you were saying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
Got
I
taken.
just yeah, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought. It's fine. No, no, we're good. I'm just giving you a little bit of shit. Probably be offensive again tonight. Most likely. Yeah.
Hey,
Um,
offensive is fun.
offensive is fine. And and Linus knows this because we've talked about this, but I've long believed that in order to be offended rather, you have to take offense. You have to make a choice to be offended. You can choose not to be.
Yeah.
And that's something that my mother has said since I was young, and she's not wrong. It's a choice. You don't have to be offended. So if somebody's being offensive, you can choose not to take offense to it.
Right.
Which actually you said that last week as well, and
Mhm.
I finally uninstalled library because I didn't care anymore because I don't have the time to deal with it. But my YouTube videos automatically upload to Odyssey, and apparently I made a video where I was like I don't hate non-Muslims, and my God, the comments I have gotten, the most interesting one was I don't care where you're from, go back to your country. Habibi, I was born here. This is my country. I'm an American. So, and what you said is like, I was, when I first read some of these comments are really nasty. I'm like, and then I'm like, you know what? I remembered what you said. It's like, I'm not going to get offended. I don't care. But the stupid people who are on Odyssey, who, if I get angry, that's what they want. They want me to come on and start losing my cool and wasting my time yelling at them. So I'm like, you know what? That's why I actually uninstalled Library. I'm like, you're right.
Mhm.
As long as I don't care, a bunch of people who probably sit at home and got nothing better to do. And I was born here.
Right. This is my country. Don't tell me to
Yeah.
go home. I am home.
Yeah, I was like, there's been a trend lately, especially to tell white Americans that they need to go back to Europe or that they're colonizers or what have you. So I find that the best response to that when they're like, "Well, where are you from?" Because you know what they're asking. They're not asking where I'm actually from. They're asking where my ancestors are from. Uh, and some of my ancestors were here before white people. Some of them weren't. Some of them were white people. But
Call
you
that
know,
teepee creeping, Sam.
people ask me that shit. And I was just like, I'm from Oklahoma. Where are you from? That's where I am from. I was born in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
USA.
Go
That's where I'm
US.
from. You know. So, uh, oh yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. So,
I was
all
born
right.
on Long Island.
Yeah. So, getting back to Chin Lee's here says he saw Stargate Continuum at the 2008 San Diego Comic Con. That's kind of awesome. I mean, Comic Con was a different animal in 2008. It was a much, much, much better thing than it is now, and that's pretty amazing. I saw it on, I believe, Sci-Fi Channel, in my living room.
I saw it on. Oh wait, I didn't watch Stargate Continuum.
I don't know if I did or not. The problem is, like I said, I watched it on DVDs from the library because we didn't get cable until 2012, and that's one of the smartest things I think my father ever did. As a kid, I hated it. We did not have cable. We did not watch television during the week. My
Mhm.
father didn't want to be the father that comes home tired from work and turns on the television. And I still hate the fact that he got cable in 2012 because it forced us to play outside. So I never saw Stargate until I got it on DVD from the library.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the library is actually a pretty good resource for that kind of thing too. But yeah, I didn't have much in the way of cable either. I remember, like we talked before about UHF dials and rabbit ears, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
doing the ancient dance of reception.
Yeah. It's time to watch TV. Someone get on top. Do interpretive dance. We need this now.
Yeah. So, I mean, grew up in that era, and then, even throughout the early 2000s, I mean, the only channels I had were like the two that would come in clearly on my television set because I didn't have cable.
Remember when you had to change the channel to 3 to play your Nintendo?
Oh
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because that was the auxiliary channel.
Yep.
So, yeah, and now we've got like
yeah.
all these other, little deals like the HDMI stuff and the, what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, guys. I am a little bit out of it. I did not sleep well last night. So, if I start to drift off like that, just say, hey, shut the fuck up and we'll move on.
Wake up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, now Stargate was, it was a bit of an underground phenomenon. It gained popularity as it went along. I mean, I think it started out pretty strong and then weaned off a little bit. And there, right in the first season, first couple episodes actually, there are a few. 'Cause you got to keep in mind, third wave feminism was really just hitting its stride at that point. This is 1997, so there wasn't a lot of that stuff, but it was leaking into entertainment at that time. So there are a handful of lines that Colonel Sam Carter, Captain, I think, in the beginning of the show, um, says that are clearly, just feminist crap. But what I like about that character is that as the show goes on, she grows into. I mean, she's probably an excellent example of a strong female character who's still feminine, kicks ass, is smarter than everybody in the room, but she earned all of it.
You talking about Amanda Tapping?
Well, I'm talking about Samantha Carter, who was played by
Okay.
Amanda Tapping. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And, aside from a couple of lines, and then there was one episode where they went up against alien Mongols who were very misogynistic, and she ended up in a fight to the death with one of them. Yeah, she was captain and then promoted to major for a long time, and then eventually she became a lieutenant colonel. I think she becomes a full-bird colonel by the time Atlantis is over, actually.
I don't remember.
I'd have to watch it again.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Atlantis in years.
I didn't know about the feminism.
Scene that you made me watch the other day, Sam.
There was a throwaway line in the pilot when her character is introduced where they, Jack O'Neill is surprised, she's being added to the team, and he's like, "Oh, why? Is it because I'm a woman?" And he's like, "No, it's because you're a doctor." And
I didn't. I was young when I watched it, so
yeah,
I didn't
and then she says something else about like, just because my plumbing is on the inside rather than the outside doesn't mean I'm not just as capable as everyone else on your team. And that's it. Aside from that, and then the episode where Mongols, again, whole thing. She gets kidnapped and taken to be a bride, and she gets offended by their whole very, very patriarchal system and women being treated as chattel. I mean, and there's something to be said about that, but at the same time, that was the focus of that episode, and it's very early on in the first season. And after that, they just focus on her being a good character and being a good physicist and soldier. And they write her much, much better at that. But the first season of anything usually has some rough spots.
Right.
Except Rings of Power. That's going to suck. I don't care.
That is the rough spot.
Yeah, Rings of Power is the rough spot.
Yes.
See, now this is why I love Firefly so much, because the first season, I can't pick out any rough spots. It was amazing.
Yes.
But I think the reason that we all love Firefly so much is because it never actually had the chance to get to be shitty.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't on TV long enough. And
yeah.
now Joss Whedon embroiled in everything that he's embroiled in. We're never getting more Firefly, and I don't care what Disney says, it's not fucking Firefly. Don't care.
Wait. Whoa. Back up. Back up.
You didn't know about that?
I didn't. What?
What? Disney is trying to reboot Firefly.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's part of the Fox library. They own all of that shit.
No.
It's going to be stuffed with woke propaganda and the feminazi agenda and smashing the patriarchy. And,
no.
Yeah.
No.
I agree.
No.
Apparently, I agree so much I turned my light back on.
Yeah. So
no.
Yes, they're going to be trying to do that. Now, you could take the approach that I do and have done with like say for instance, Rings of Power, I don't care. It's not part of the thing. So I don't watch it, as far
Yeah,
as I'm concerned.
but no.
Right. Fundamentally, like yourself, I am offended by this, but I am choosing to ignore the fact that it exists, and I'm definitely not considering it part of the thing that I like.
Yeah, absolutely not. Like we got the one season, and then we got our graphic novels, and I'm good. I'm good.
All right,
Stop screaming.
you've just ruined my week. I thought my weekend was bad, starting with our great leader presenting himself to the world behind his mighty red background.
With Marines.
With Marines. Oh wow, I'm so impressed. Then came the Rings of Power on Friday, and now this. I never want to leave my no.
Yeah, it is what it is. They're gonna take everything and run it into the ground. That was part of the plan. And that all ties back into see, this is one of the things that I again, to dip my foot back into politics here, the problem that I've had with a lot of the more prominent faces and movers and shakers behind conservatism in this country is that they ignored what was happening in fucking Hollywood. They ignored it until it was too late. Now the infiltration is complete. They are dismantling everything that in all of entertainment. The problem is that entertainment is important and it's in our faces all the time. Now, granted, we could always go back to the days where everybody was playing stickball in the street, and then we wouldn't have these issues. But entertainment is a part of our culture. It just is, and it's been completely taken over by commies.
You know, the interesting thing is my father actually has been talking about this for a very long time because he said it happened in Egypt. And it's really interesting because there's the and my father was warning about this for a very long time that entertainment slowly changes what the norm is. It's like in Egypt, for example, alcohol is forbidden in Islam. You're not supposed to drink any alcohol. So what
Hmm.
they would do is instead of having like they would just put in the wealthy like they'd have a show with a wealthy
Got it.
family and they'd have alcohol sitting not they wouldn't touch it, but it would just normalize the existence of alcohol. They would associate alcohol with the wealthy elite. So eventually, slowly, they changed the way people viewed certain things about they view women dressed like me as they always would put cast in movies someone dressed in the hijab as the dirty poor woman. So you
Hmm.
start associating the hijab with someone who's dirty and poor and the farmer that so they were doing it. My father has been saying this for a very long time where he's like they will slowly insert a character of a certain type. And so you start it's like, oh well that's only one character and they only are on screen for 5 minutes. That's okay.
Yeah, but kids are going to see that, and that's what they're going to associate with later. And that's the problem: is when you fuck with the
Yeah.
entertainment, you fuck with the minds of children, even before they even get into the educational system. And obviously, education has been a big problem too, because it's seeded throughout, and that's where they started initially. But once they got into entertainment, they were able to start working on the minds of the young before they ever got into education. Because, you know, what kid in this country doesn't watch shitloads of too much television?
Right. Or
You know,
we use any LCD screen or a phone, a TV,
Mhm.
a tablet, whatever. That's the babysitter these days. It's don't bother mom and dad. Here's your screen. Go away. Bye bye. Off with you now.
Which is why this is a lot of people. This has nothing to do with being a Muslim, but I'm one of those really like I'm really conservative in the sense that I think women should stay home. I think one of the things, as someone who my parents divorced when I was very very young, I know what it's like to not have a mother and to come home to a home without and then later when my father remarried, eventually my stepmother got a job, and even though she only worked when they were at school nothing got done. Like because by the time she got home from work, and so it's like I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I think that one of the biggest problems we have is and I don't think it should be illegal, but I think women should be encouraged to stay home because we have children who are being raised by, as you said, by the screens. And before my parents divorced, my mom was very involved.
Well, and even if it's not encouraged to stay home, at least not discouraged to stay home because we put
Yeah.
such a stigma on it. And the way society is, one, the economically speaking, it's really difficult to have a single family or a single income household and raise a family. So, they've stacked the deck against you to say, oh, you both have to work. You both have to be bringing in income. Otherwise, you're going to be below the poverty line all your lives. You're not going to have anything you're going to want for everything. And, you probably won't even meet your basic needs. We need to stop, with that particular culture. We need to get back to, if someone wants to have a more traditional home where it's the father that goes out and provides for the family and the mother stays home and rears the children, I think that's a great idea. That's one of the huge tenets of my faith is that, the family unit, it's just like that. We encourage the mother to rear the children. That is her role. Be
Same is mine.
the example, be the child rearer, be the homemaker, and the father goes out, works, pays for everything.
Yeah, yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, like I differ slightly. I don't care which parent stays home, but one of them needs to be the homemaker. One of them needs to be the breadwinner. There needs to be a division of duties.
Agreed.
And that's one of the reasons why this whole idea, like with Afghanistan, which really pissed me off about how they're not educating girls. It's like, excuse me, your daughter is going to grow up to become a mother, and she's going to be home with the kids. If she's stupid, what kind of kids are you going to get out of it? So that's why actually I felt like Islam encourages girls to be taught and educated, because you're staying with the kids. You need smart kids. If you have a dumb mother, you're going to have dumb kids.
Mom always said, stupid is, stupid does.
Well, yeah, and you're right about that. I mean, if you raise kids who are incapable of taking care of themselves, then they're going to be equally as incapable of raising children that can take care of themselves. I mean, eventually it'll weed itself out, but who wants to see that happen to their kids?
Right.
Right. So you teach them to be self-sufficient. You teach them to be able to think for themselves. You teach them to balance a goddamn checkbook.
Yeah.
Forget about the pronouns. Balance a checkbook.
Right.
And
but we're so worried about our social justice bullshit, and all this intersectional nastiness that no one's thinking about. Actual life skills. We just want to play victim.
Right.
Yeah.
And and that's generally what I was getting at with that first season of Stargate. It's not a prevalent issue throughout the course of the series. They don't really bring that shit up again. Characters stand on their own merits, men and women both. And they're just like, oh well, it's because of a man. Oh, it's because of a woman. No, that doesn't come up again.
No.
Throughout the course of the series, I think there's hints of it in Stargate universe, but just hints, and those characters are insufferable anyway. So
yeah, they are. I do love Robert Carlyle in that show, though.
Yeah,
I love Robert Carlyle in everything.
Yeah, there were Stargate universe suffered from the same problem that Star Trek Voyager did. Is that half of the cast and the characters were amazing, the other half were fucking insufferable.
Right.
Yeah.
They were just like, why am I watching these people? Like, what was that song? About Ocampa's sucking.
Oh, screw the Ocampa! I want to go home.
Yeah, it's like nobody gives a shit about Kess or her people. Fuck them.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. They should have. Yeah.
Not to mention Talaxian chicks are ugly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, and Universe suffered from that same problem as there
I've never seen it.
It's interesting. It was after after Battlestar Galactica's remake, the Ron D. Moore version went off. Oh, we have a guest, everybody.
Oh, good. Someone take my spot because I got to head out in a few minutes here.
All right. Well, we're gonna bring her in now. It's the Exiled Lioness. Welcome.
Amir, your name is Amira? Wait, her name is Amira?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the show.
That's my brother's name. Well, no, my brother's name is Amir. Not Amira, obviously.
You're muted, Amira. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
And you're driving.
Don't kill yourself. You muted.
No.
I don't think you're. Yeah, Bluetooth doesn't pick up very well with StreamYard. I've tried that before.
Oh, she's streamed on it before.
Strange.
So, but yeah, it's not. I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought again. Sorry, guys. I have had some rough sleep. Oh, here she comes again.
Trust me, I know because I have a cricket that won't stop, and it's impossible to sleep with that little yikip from hell.
All right, I think Amira, I think we can hear you.
You think so?
Yes.
Yep, you're in.
I was
Welcome.
saying my brother his name is
That's
Amir.
good. Yeah, I heard you. It's a common name in the Middle East. I mean, Amir is very common. Where are you from again?
Me, Egypt. Well, my family's from Egypt. I was born here.
Into
You?
Massoya. Oh, okay, that's good.
بتكلمي عربي؟ مصري
Come
ولا
on,
عربي؟
really? Really? Yeah, of course. Well, it's nice to see you. I mean, it's nice to see that Samuel is talking to another Arab that's conservative. That's beautiful.
Yeah. For everybody out there who's not familiar, although I think almost everybody in our chat is familiar, this is Amira. This is the Exiled Lioness. When I say that I work for her sometimes behind the stage, this is who I'm talking about. Maesterchow. This is Amira.
Sometimes.
Kat. This is Amira. Maesterchow and Kat.
Oh, by the way, my
Hi,
name is actually the cat nickname was because I was doing a live stream with Geeks and Gamers. My name is actually Aisha.
Aisha. Assalamu alaikum. That's beautiful.
It's hard for people to pronounce, so that's why.
Well, yeah.
Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. I'm like, just call me Cat. Just call me
Yeah.
Cat.
Yeah, it's the ayin. You know, ayin is so hard for Americans. They can't do it, but it's okay. It happens. So yeah, we're like, would you consider yourself politically conservative?
Yes. Well, okay. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in the Constitution, Second Amendment, which apparently that means I'm more conservative. I believe in low taxes because, dear God, the government does not know how to spend money. Stop taking my money for trash. I do not support lockdowns or any of that. So I guess apparently I didn't know, but that apparently makes me conservative. My father is a Republican, and I was registered Republican because I was a kid and I never changed. So obviously I'm religiously conservative.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. I mean, I would love to. I mean, if you're interested, I would love to promote another Muslim conservative because it's rare. It's rare for me to find other conservatives that are also Muslim because unfortunately, our community, as we call it, community, our group tends to go Democrat because the Democrats tend to, pander to us and say that, everybody else is racist and they accept us and, all that stuff. But I would love to have a conversation with you about being Muslim conservative and the problems that we face in America, if you're interested.
Sure. I mean, I just like meeting other people, and I mean, Sam seems, says you're cool. So I haven't watched any of your videos yet, but
Wait! Before you do that, before you watch my videos, I just want to say I am a very kind person, and I have a lot of love for everyone.
She's a gangster, folks.
Okay.
She didn't choose the thug life. The thug life chose her.
That's cool. Hey, looking at me. Maybe I should share some of the jokes that I work in the warehouse of a store. I work primarily with a lot of guys. A while back, I was visiting with a couple of friends of our family who are kind of left leaning, and I was like, okay, here's a joke we had at work. Okay, what do you call a fat woman with a can I say RAPE?
Yes, you can say what you like. We're
Okay.
free speech absolutists.
All right. What do you call a fat woman with a rape whistle? Optimistic. And the looks on their faces was hilarious. The two women who were leftists were like, and I'm laughing my head off, and they are staring at me like,
yeah. They would say you cannot laugh at that. Yeah.
And I thought it was hilarious.
Optimistic. Um,
I beg to differ.
but
I
yeah.
can laugh at anything. Everything's a joke if you look at it right.
No, all right.
Well, I
So
don't know.
because
I think this one is common. I think this one is really common where they say like there's a black man and a Mexican in a car who's driving.
The police officer.
Nobody knows. The police. But that I heard that actually yesterday, and I was like, oh gosh.
the
I
stuff
shouldn't
we
laugh
say
at that, but
at
it was funny.
work, the things we say at work, we joke that when at one point HR was like visiting, and they're like, someone's gonna slip them a piece of paper that says, "Help me." This stuff, because I mean, like I said, I work with in the warehouse where we're pushing TVs around, and yeah, I can carry a 55-inch TV. So there's like 3 women at most working in the warehouse. Usually it's just me and one other person. One of the other people actually left. So it's like, yeah, I gotta be able to acknowledge the lack of my dick means I have a lot of weaknesses and
Astaghfirullah, sister. Astaghfirullah. Don't. You're wearing hijab. Oh my god. Relax. Relax.
No,
Oh my
well, like I said,
goodness.
we joke a lot at one point because I work with a bunch of guys, so I'm used to it. Every time I go on a live stream, the guys are like, "I'm always afraid I'm going to offend you." I'm like, "Don't worry, trust me. It's going to take a lot to offend me."
Okay, well, when you come, if you come on my channel, I don't want you to speak that way. I hope because I want to keep your image, very clean. So please, but yeah, I
But I'm
appreciate
easygoing.
No, you seem very easygoing. You do.
And I mean, I mean, they like we had a soda explosion. Soda exploded at one point because someone did something, and one guy's like, "Because of who you are, I need to ask you, did you have anything to do it?" And I'm like, I didn't because it wasn't successful.
That's cute. That's cute.
She's told me that story before. It's still funny.
Yeah, you're like, if no one died, I was unsuccessful.
Yeah, so it was definitely not me. It couldn't possibly have been me.
Yeah, I get that one.
But I will try to behave.
No, you can do as you please. I just don't want you to speak that way when you're wearing hijab because the image. I mean, if you're Masriya, you understand that the hijabis you should. The hijab is not just on your head;
Yeah.
it's in your behavior as well. That's
The
why
image
I don't wear hijab anymore.
The reason one of the images, what I want to present to people, is that we're normal people. That I wear the hijab for modesty. I think one of the problems with a lot of Muslims who wear the hijab now is they wear skinny tight jeans and a form-fitting shirt, and they wear the hijab, and it's like everything is exposed. It's like that's not the hijab. That's not about. It's about modesty. On the other hand, I want people to know that just because I wear hijab and I happen to be a Muslim, I play video games. I'm a normal person. I'm not going to get offended over, oh my God, I can't say anything anti-Muslim around her. I believe in freedom of speech. I'm not a victim. I hate it when people look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're an oppressed woman because you wear the hijab." No, I chose to wear it. I took it off for a while and I chose to wear it. I feel more free because of it. So I just want people to know we're normal people when we wear the hijab. We just
Whoops.
normal.
Sorry.
I don't know. I like to play video games.
Amir, don't get yourself killed.
Yes.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah,
doing? You're
No,
actually
no.
driving. I didn't think you were driving. You're actually driving.
Someone else will die before I get myself killed here. No, I'm fine.
they're gonna
I'm
add
almost.
don't stream and drive to don't text and drive.
Oh yeah, for real. For real. No, I'm almost there. I'm going on a plane ride right now. I'm gonna go take a little plane ride tour around the area.
No, fair enough.
Have you guys seen those planes that land in water?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm going on right. I've never been on one, so
Okay.
They're an interesting
here
ride.
it is. Oh, you've been on one before?
Yes.
Oh, there they are in the background. Yep,
Oh,
I'm here. I'm at
cool.
the airport. Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys when I get there. You guys can see something different, I guess.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, Maesterchow is a skydiver.
Oh
wow.
God! Wow,
I
that's
would
terrifying and
never.
awesome.
Everyone
never.
says, Chow, why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? If you would have seen the airplane I jumped out of, you'd have jumped too.
Okay, I didn't see the plane. Fair point.
Yeah, it was a pile of shit. Anyway,
My
Sam,
cousin
thanks for
is
having me on tonight. I got a Oski, but
Yep.
I'll catch y'all next week.
All right.
Thank you for-
Thanks. You got anything you want to plug before you go, or you got to go?
Just be on the lookout for my channel. Obviously, it's called Maesterchow. I've got some cool stuff coming up, and I hope to see at least some people there. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for letting me be your dancing monkey. And yeah, see y'all next week.
All right. Good night, brother.
Wait, I gotta just show off my cousin is a pilot. He flies helicopters to oil rigs. At least that last time I saw him, it's been a while. But he flies helicopters.
My grandfather has planes.
I you know, when I was a kid, I was a Boy Scout. One of the trips that we took was to a local airport, and we got into like a little 4-seater Cessna. You know, like it's not a very big plane. And the pilot took 3 of us up at a time. And the one who got to sit in the front seat got to fly the plane while we were up there. I gave up the seat to my buddy because he cried so much. It should have been me. I'm just putting that out there. Should have been me. I was too nice, and I missed my opportunity to fly a damn plane when I was like 12.
I want to fly planes. I want to fly planes.
I heard they're actually pretty easy.
Yeah, well, once you get it's the taking off and landing that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Right. The landing I heard was the hardest. Like landing is always hard.
So, but it was cool because we flew about 500 750 feet above the town I lived in. I was able to I saw the top of my sister's head. We flew over my neighborhood. She was out in the yard playing.
You didn't throw any rocks at it? Throw any rocks at her?
Well, no, it's pretty windy at 500 feet. It'd probably miss.
Oh.
There's an awesome series on Amazon Prime called not Amazon Prime, it's on Paramount Plus, called Air Disasters, and it's all about the different types of times planes either crashed or didn't. And the best ones are the ones where
I
the
watch that all
pilot
the time.
You watched it? Do you know about like the Gimli glider, the pilot in Canada who glided and like turned his plane? It's like the first time someone landed a 2-engine plane with no engines, didn't lose a single person.
Yeah.
They landed on that drag race.
Yeah.
Or the Sully one, the story of Sully is so much better than the movie. The movie the
movie really didn't do it justice. It didn't do it justice. No.
And they wanted to add conflict that wasn't there. And honestly, the guy in Air Disasters who plays Sully is much more handsome and looks more like Sully than Tom Hanks. And
than the actual movie. Yeah. Yeah. Why did they make Sully look so ugly in the movie? I was like, he's not ugly.
No. And the documentary actually has him on it, and the guy because they recreate the conversations in the cockpit, so they have people playing as the pilots. Not crashing the hard part.
Yeah. He was so calm, like during that whole thing. He was like, we're going to the Hudson. I would have been like, we're about to die in the Hudson. Come get us before we all drown. Please help, 10-4. Just kidding. I don't know. I would have been freaking out.
Yes.
But he was just like, oh, we're landing in the Hudson.
The thug McCoy's right. That drag strip had been. That's why he was going towards it, because he didn't realize it was a drag strip and they were having a drag race going on. So they're like, that's the closest airport where with a runway long enough for the plane to land on. And so he ended up going there, and it's like, wait a minute, there's drag racing going on. What the hell's going on here? We need to land this plane. I've watched that whole series like 3 times. It's the only reason I have Paramount Plus.
I mean, you can watch that on YouTube. You know that. You don't need to have Paramount to watch that.
Well, not all of them, though, are on YouTube. That's the problem. Most of them are. But they're actually like 17. I think it's 17 seasons. It's like insane, the number of seasons.
Yeah, but that's a problem that we've been having with streaming services altogether. Is people get their properties or whatever, and then they go and they hoard them. So you end up having to if you want to watch this and you want to watch that and you want to watch this over here and you want to watch that, sure, you could get all of it on Amazon Prime, but you got to pay through the nose for it. Or you could get all these different streaming services, but if you do that, then you end up with a bill that's just as large as a cable bill would have been in the first place. Which is streaming is why we got rid of cable.
Right. Did you guys see Joe Biden's speech? Speaking of cable and
I did a 2.5 hour solo stream last night about that.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, not.
What did you say?
I covered a couple of articles that were put out, one by the AP and one by Deadline,
Yeah.
and I said a lot of stuff.
Regarding? Come on, regarding. Come on, don't make it secretive.
Regarding the sitting president of the United States threatening his people.
Is that Boa? Boa is here.
Yeah,
Boa!
he's here every week.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I had to cut you off. I'm sorry, Samuel. Okay, go ahead. So you said what? You said you were.
So talked about the president once again threatening us. Not a week after he said something about possibly nuking his own citizens. The fact that he looked like Chancellor Sutler from V for Vendetta with that setup that he had. Which is a fictional movie, but it illustrates where this kind of thing leads very well, in terms of totalitarianism and the end result.
And we're going right now. Right.
Yeah, and it is. They used the same kind of colors, the same kind of setup. Shock troops standing behind him. I know they were U.S. Marines, but So I talked quite a bit about that. I talked about some other things too, but and covered those articles and covered the wording he was using, the propagandic wording, and the fact that it was very much a campaign speech done, on government property with, soldiers in attendance and paid for with U.S. tax dollars, which I'm pretty sure is illegal.
I want to give you an idea of what I saw there really quickly, because I'm going to talk about this tonight, of course, but I'll give you a little bit of a preview. What I saw there was a declaration of war, because no president does a speech in front of the military unless it is to show power or force to whoever he's addressing. And to show that kind of power and force, to have military behind you and to have that dark colors. Now, people were also talking about how there was red, white, and blue in the background, but the cameras only cropped it to the red. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, because where the president was, optics, everybody knows the optics. The people who are handling the media there, they know the optics. No matter if there was red, white, and blue, you knew what you were doing by putting him in front of a red background like that. And then another thing is, like I said, the military presence. His wording, Samuel, it's funny that you bring it up. His wording is very much how leaders speak when they are preparing for war. Speaking and letting the country know who's the enemy, who's the target. And that's exactly what he did. So...
Yep. Okay. And ostensibly at the beginning of that speech, he was talking about the MAGA Republicans who were replacing his Rhino cronies. However, by the end of it, he was talking about every American citizen who disagrees with him.
Correct.
It's
every one of us. And what the left does not see, and I mentioned this too, is that once these guys are done purging the rest, the enemy, they're going to turn on you too. They're going to turn on you.
I always said compliance will not save you from tyranny. Complying will not save you.
It's terrifying. And they don't know what it's like. And you know what? And I don't understand how people can actually support anything against freedom of speech. One of the things that when Elon Musk was initially buying Twitter, they said freedom of speech is against minorities. It's like, excuse me, I lived through 9/11 dressed like this. So I was going out on the street after 9/11 dressed like this. And the only reason that I, as a Muslim, was able to speak out and say anything that I mean, if I want to say I don't believe Jesus is the Son of God, the only reason I could say that is because of freedom of speech. The only reason I could say opinions that the majority of the people don't agree with is because of freedom of speech. So don't tell me freedom of speech hurts minorities. Freedom of speech protects minorities, because if it weren't for freedom of speech, Muslims wouldn't be able to say anything that the majority didn't agree with. It's all terrifying, because even with freedom of speech, after there were things that we knew we could not say because it would put us on watch lists. Even now, someone at one point commented on Twitter at one point about guns and meat, and I'm like, you have to be careful, because I'm not worried about the Twitter mob. Is still the Patriot Act in effect. It's not as bad, but this is terrifying. It's dangerous. And you know what the worst part is? I already got through being called a terrorist once. Now, because I happen to believe in freedom of speech and that America is great, and freedom is great, then I'm going to be labeled a terrorist all over again. It's terrifying. And
I
these
mean,
people are not.
you've only been called terrorist once. I mean, you're lucky. I've been called
Oh
that
no, no.
countless
Well,
times.
what I meant is it happened for another reason, and now it's like, well, now they call me that as a joke. We joke around. I mean, look, I did not start the fire in the toaster. You would have known if I had started the fire in the toaster.
So what you're saying is that freedom of speech protects minorities, actually sets us free, and that's your point, and that is a good point
Yes.
to make. You're bringing up a good point, and it's a great example. And Samuel, like you hear it from two Muslim women. I mean, Americans don't understand the freedoms that they have, and they don't value them like we do because we've seen different. I don't know if you've been to. You've been
Oh, I've
to
been to Egypt
Masr?
a ton of times, like almost every year.
Okay.
No,
I
well,
just
my
got back from
father.
the Middle East. I just got back from Middle East, so I mean, you see that, and like you come back to the United States, and you're like, why don't Americans value this?
My father once said that he would rather live in an America where can I say the N word? Not Nazis. He said
Yes.
he would rather live in America where it's legal for Nazis to exist, because as long as they're not doing anything illegal, like killing people in their basement, you have the freedom to think whatever you want. My father,
Mm-hmm.
who is an Egyptian-born Muslim, said he wouldn't want to live in America where Nazis are illegal. And I'm the
Mm-hmm.
same. And that's why my only argument a while back, there was a group of Muslims who were suing Facebook because they allowed Muslim hate groups on. Like, the only reason I actually agreed with them is because of the hypocrisy. Because every other hate group that they put on Facebook is immediately wiped. You put anything where you're like, I'm against this, any type, any other group, they're immediately wiped. Again, like the whole stupid Spider-Man pride flag thing. You say anything against the pride thing, you're immediately banned. So normally, I think any group should be allowed. You want to hate Muslims, go right ahead. I have no problem. But when you allow certain hate, but not allow, that's the only reason. But I believe I cannot believe the stupidity and the insanity when you have arguments with people and they think this freedom of speech is bad. It's like, what is wrong with you? Are you
Well,
out
the
of
thing
your
is,
mind?
they believe in freedom of speech, but as soon as it's something that opposes their views, that's when they get offended and demand that it be removed. And my argument back to them is the freedom of speech is to protect the speech that you don't like. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's not to protect all the speech that you like, because of course you're not going to be offended by things that people are agreeing with you, blah, people who are agreeing with you and all of that. Of course, you're supposed the freedom of speech is to protect the things that you don't like to be
yeah.
said.
And it's not pleasant sometimes hearing things you don't like to be said, but you know what? Just don't subscribe to them. Just I don't know if you heard me. I said I don't like it when people draw the profit. I
Hmm.
don't. But I don't think it should be illegal, because your popular opinion today could be tomorrow's unpopular opinion. I remember talking with my father about it. I'm like, why is it not illegal to draw the profit? And he's like, because tomorrow something else could be censored. And so you can't do that. You can't pick and choose like that. So it's really really frightening. And and the fact that, the crazy thing is that the fact that you can't even define what a woman is telling me that they have people in lockstep, where it's like, where you can't even do something as simple and basic as tell me what a woman is, or that you have biological men competing against women and you don't see anything wrong with that. It proves to me you're not thinking for yourself. You're just accepting what they are spoon feeding at you. And so it tells me that tomorrow Biden can go out and say, okay, which one of your neighbors had a Trump sign, point them out to the police, and they will point them out because they're not thinking.
North
Whereas,
Korea style.
and the question is, you should be questioning everything. The moment I see a mob of people doing something, I was saying back in 2020 that everyone was going to catch the coof. Back when it first was hitting, I said everyone was going to catch it back in 2020. And now it turns out I was right. But the moment everyone is marching and saying the same thing, you should be like, okay, well, why are you all agreeing? There must be something. Even when the Nintendo Switch came out, the dock, and everyone said this is amazing. I'm like, all right, let me see for sure. Is it really as amazing as you claim? Anyway, my apologies.
Oh, no worries. We love your rants. So, are we going to see the plane?
Yeah. You're gonna go look at
My
some
dad's
things.
going to Monster this week. He's in Chicago right now.
I don't know what to do. I thought I feel like a boomer. How do I work this thing?
To be fair, Ozzy, I know that there are 5 parts to the First Amendment, and I usually forget one of them too and have to look it up. So, yeah.
I want redress from my government. They put me through hell. And then they made me wear a mask for 2 years. Which, again, like I said, I have purposely wore one that looked like this just to freak people out.
Let me know if it's too much noise. Because I don't want to.
It is the first. I've never. At first, I thought, honestly, I thought there weren't a lot of Muslim conservatives out there. I thought there would be more Muslim conservatives. Like I said, my father's a lifelong Republican. I mean, he's not a Trump supporter, but he was a lifelong Republican. I don't know where he stands now. I think he's more doubtful on everything. But
Yeah, and I've mentioned to you before how and to Amir as well that I always thought it was weird that there weren't more Muslim conservatives in this country too, because Islam is inherently a conservative religion.
I asked my father that, and he, honestly, to be honest, whereas I know a lot of other Muslims were willing to make consensus and be like, oh, well, I will like bend my faith to. On the other hand, he's like, because a lot of, it was during, the war, the wars in the Middle East. And so it was like better to side with people who are against that. Now,
I gotta go, guys. I gotta get checked into my flight. So, I'll talk to you guys a little bit later if you're gonna be.
All right,
you.
I'll be there. Yeah, definitely, and all that, and I'll get Kat the link.
Okay. I would be
honored. I'll be on tonight. I'm gonna be on tonight at 8:15 Pacific.
Pacific, so that is for me.
It's like 11 p.m. something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to figure that out. Okay.
Right.
So I'll get.
And it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So, I said I'll get the details worked out with her after we wrap this stream up. And Carrie says safe travels, and he echoes that sentiment from me.
Thank you, Larry.
Me too.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, my new hijabi friend. All right, I'll be on, like I said, then. Come join me. It's going to be great. Larry sent me a great list, so it's going to be offensive, and it's going to be what it normally is. So
that should be
fun.
See
you guys there.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Yeah. Well, now you've met my friend, Amira.
Cool. I really did think there were other... I mean, I didn't think there were other Muslims who actually... I mean, my dad has gotten a little... My mom got her... went to college recently, and I think she's a bad influence on him. I have resisted the urge, because I was the only one against defund the police in my family. I was the only one like, this is insane. Are you crazy? I've resisted the urge to be like, I was right, wasn't I? I was right about don't defund the police. Because I know people don't like it when they say, I told you so, because I did tell you so. It was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So 11, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's I mean, if you're available and awake and all that, I mean, I know that you're not as concerned about that on a Saturday.
No, as long as it's not like Sunday night.
Carrie, do you actually want me to leave you in the back? Or you want me to bring you up?
Another guest?
Well, he may want to talk, but he may not want to talk publicly. That's why I was asking. Okay, he wants to stay backstage. Fair enough. Well, guys, we kind of got way off topic.
Yeah.
So, which is, it's fine. I like to see where organic conversations go. I didn't expect Amira to drop in. I send her the link every week. But she's also a moderator here, and Carrie would be too if he'd stop being a pussy about it. I shouldn't have asked. I should have just made him one. That said, we have a few people coming in later on. Sorry, guys, I didn't get to you. Bernie, welcome. Josh, welcome back. Saw you at the top of the stream. Larry, thanks for coming. Everybody coming in. Chen Li, I know I saw you earlier, and I apologize. 7-1 was with me last night, the whole stream. the whole like middle of the night random I'm gonna bitch about Biden for 2.5 hours until my throat feels raw stream. 7-1 stuck it out with me the whole time. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I saw
So
Tim Pool's when the speech was going on. I was
mm,
listening to Tim Pool, and um, it just wow, just wow.
yeah.
No,
Well,
well, I know. I don't think they acknowledge the reality. I mean, how you can acknowledge the reality? I don't think they do. I haven't asked because I haven't brought it up because I know that I will. I mean, come on. But at the same time, I don't even know if they've acknowledged it. I mean, at one point I was telling because my father's going to Chicago. I'm like, be careful. And they're like, don't believe everything you see on the news. It's like, we know the crime rate is going up in Chicago. It's like, yeah, you might want to be careful. And I told him again before he left. I'm like, don't go out at night. Be careful. He's going to some kind of to an Islamic convention, so I'm sure that's going to be very popular in Chicago. Um, yeah. So I don't think they've acknowledged it, but at the same time, I mean, how can you not? New York is a crime infested nightmare.
well,
Um,
sooner or later the rats are going to take over New York entirely.
that's why we need an army of cats.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Those rats, they're like Splinter if he was roided out and hooked on crack.
True, true.
And
But
they're
Buster
huge.
is a mega cat and she's surprisingly big. It doesn't show well in the pictures, but Buster's actually a pretty big cat. She probably weighs closer to 14 pounds. She'd get up off her fuzzy rear end and do some exercise, but she's supposed to weigh about 12 and a half pounds. Most people are amazed to find out she's a girl because she's such a big cat.
I was surprised to find out that Buster is a girl because her name is Buster.
All right, so the reason Buster's a girl, Buster's name is Buster, is I was given Buster by someone when she was about 5 or 6 months old. I had a cat before her who had been put to sleep, and so they're like, "We have this kitten. Do you want to take it? We can't take it. The cat doesn't get along with our cat." And they're like, "It's a little boy. His name is Buster." And they had taken Buster to a vet, and the vet had said, "This is a boy." Unlike humans, and I'm obviously not a leftist. I'm going to say it flat out. If you have a dick, you are not a chick. Unlike with unlike with unlike with humans, young cats, it's actually very hard. It's not uncommon to get a very young kitten at 5 or 6 months and think it's a male and find out it's a female. So I
Right.
take Buster to the vet, and I had already looked into the cost of getting a cat spayed. Getting a female cat spayed is a fortune. Getting a male cat neutered is half the price. And the vet goes to take her temperature and says, "This isn't a boy, this is a girl. You have 5 minutes to come up with a new name." Right.
So the name
So
just stuck.
the name just stuck. The worst part is when I finally took her for her appointment to get spayed, and the vet is putting a little paper collar on her neck and writing Buster. It's like, "I hope we don't forget this is a girl." I'm like, "Dear God, please do not try to neuter my female cat."
You know, um, it's funny too. Naming cats is weird. It's a weird thing. You got to admit, because cats are beings that clearly names don't really seem right. Like they shouldn't have them. Like they should be unnamed things. And I don't mean that in a yeah, I do. I don't like cats. So yeah, I do. I mean it exactly how it sounds. But yeah. I had a cat that I loved in my life. She's been dead since I was like 15. But she was a black Manx. She was the meanest little shits that you'd ever seen. She had a habit of murdering animals twice her size and eating them. Uh, she
Nice.
she was very nearly feral, but she was very, for the most part, well behaved inside the house. The only being on earth that she got along with was my dog for some reason. She hated my mom, hated my sister, barely tolerated me. Uh, and so because of her attitude, uh, and the fact that her hair was jet black, we named her Lucy Van Pelt II after the
Mhm.
Peanuts character, who also
Ah,
who also has black hair and is a complete
yeah.
bitch. No, no. Uh, But no, we never called her Lucy. We never called her any of that stuff. We usually just called her Cat or Black Cat. But her official name was Lucy Van Pelt II because she had black hair and she was a bitch.
Well, Buster hates everybody, but Buster actually was a feral. So they found Buster on the street. And so Buster only gets along with me because that's the norm with feral cats. They don't trust people easily. So like when I go to Egypt, my brothers feed her, and my brother Yusuf was like, she tried to bite me and she scratched me. I'm like, because you're touching her food. She doesn't understand. And she hates everybody except for me. Whereas with me, on the other hand, she will sleep right next to me. Like, she trusts me. She's also sleeping right now.
How do you know she's not sizing you up for dinner?
That's true too. That's very possible. That's why I have to keep the food coming, because if I don't,
yeah, that's why people who have large snakes,
oh God.
People who have large snakes and they're like, oh, they like to cuddle in bed. No,
they don't.
Testing you to see if they can fit you in their mouth.
that I can believe. The cat, on the other hand, I think it's because Buster's a very picky eater. Yeah. She only likes Friskies, and well, she doesn't have fingers to open the Friskies with. Reminder, Buster, I'm the only one who can open your Friskies.
Oh, and the other thing with snakes, though, is because they're cold-blooded, they don't generate body heat, so we do, and the warmth is another reason why they would snuggle up to you, but it isn't because they like you. It's because you're warm and they can't generate their own heat, and also they're probably thinking about whether or not they can swallow you whole.
I think it's the swallowing you whole thing, but then they realize that they'll be cold. The advantage about cats, though, is they have a higher body temperature than humans. So in the winter, when it's cold, there's nothing more pleasant than waking up and finding a large fuzzball curled up next to you, because it's nice and warm.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Feed me human slaves.
Look. At the very least, we can say with confidence and absolute certainty that if my cat had been made president, we would not be in this horrible situation that we are in now.
That reminds me, because you had said that on your earlier stream today, but also you had asked about how to bring messages up on your streams.
Yes.
And all that stuff, and it's particularly super chats and that sort of thing. But what software are you using to stream?
Streamlabs OBS.
Okay, so I don't know much about that. I have both of them. I haven't worked with them. I typically use StreamYards because it's very, plug and play and pretty easy to figure out. Well, now on StreamYards, where you've got the comments up in the corner, if you're running the thing, all you got to do is hover your mouse over the comment you want to highlight, and it'll pop up a little button that says show, and you need to click that, and it pops up.
So StreamYards is different than Streamlabs.
Yes, they're different programs.
Oh, I did not know that.
So, I haven't played around with StreamYard much. I know that a lot of the boys at G&G and F&T like to use that for their bigger streams, but I don't understand everything about how that works or all the features yet, so I haven't used it. But if you use StreamYard like we're using here, it's just a matter of like hover and click.
Well, the reason that I've been using Streamlabs is because when I first got it, like 2 years ago, I think, there was a deal. It was a holiday deal for their Streamlabs Prime, which allows me to multi-stream. So when I'm streaming, I am on YouTube and Twitch, because my goal, yes, everyone, go follow me on Twitch. My goal is to take over Twitch and outnumber Amaranth. And I want the top female streamer on Twitch to actually be a goddamn gamer instead of someone who's sitting in a hot tub.
Yeah. Oh, last week when you had posted that video about your gaming receipts, I shared that on Twitter and added Anita Sarkeesian.
I saw that. Thank you so much.
So that was pretty funny. Cats are adorable murder hobos. I'm gonna put the kibosh on the adorable part, but I'll agree with the murder hobos.
Oh no, come on. When she's curled up and she wraps her little paws around herself and she does this thing where she curls her toes. My cat does this thing where it's so adorable. She curls her toes.
I think it's just a personal preference thing. I'm not fond of pets in general.
Yeah.
And so it's not really my thing. If I were to get another pet in my life, which I probably never will, but if I were to do it, it would probably be either a rat or a scorpion.
No, well, no, I can understand that. I joke about it, but most of the people I work with have dogs. Um, if you have a pet, it's yeah, it's totally subjective. I love cats. I'm not a dog person myself. For one
Mm.
thing, they bark at me.
I'm not a dog
Um,
person either. Yeah.
so, but I can understand. Scorpion, I don't know if I can understand it, but hey, to
Look,
each their own.
it's there are good reasons for this. Number one, they don't require much. You know, a sponge that's a little damp is all the water that they require. You know, a cricket once or twice a week is all they need to eat. You know, you can keep crickets in there and it'll just eat when it needs to eat. They don't overfeed themselves.
Yeah, but what if the
You,
crickets get out?
well, you know, you can take measures to prevent that, or you can just like parse it out so that you know the scorpion gets enough to eat, and you don't have a bunch of crickets running around. Um, or and then even with the scorpions, like you could put them in a glass bowl, right? You don't even have to put a lid on top of it because they can't climb out. They can't grip glass with their feet.
Okay, okay, you can have your scorpion. I'm gonna stick.
Cleaning is easy. All you got to do, you pick it up just behind the stinger, and you move it to another container, and then you can clean the bowl out, and then you do the same thing. You put it back. As long as you're careful and you grab it just behind the stinger, you'll be fine. Also, they're quiet. They make no noise, so I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to a cat yelling outside my bedroom door.
Oh no, she doesn't do that. She only does that if like I oversleep and she wants to get fed, because I usually wake up very early and that's when she gets fed. But
Mm.
normally, nah. Buster's actually oddly like she goes through moods where sometimes she will randomly go ah, and sometimes she'll just open her mouth and not make a sound. It's like
Mm.
it's weird. She gets moods. As for Twitch, you know what Twitch had a while back? I'm the only person who made a video about it. They had a drag showcase at their con in Amsterdam. Twitch
Why?
sucks.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Twitch
I
does
don't know.
suck, and they will ban people for the dumbest reasons and allow other. Did you see that thing a couple like what was it last week or whatever? The one Twitch streamer, she got laid on stream, and she got
Yes,
a
I saw that.
1 week suspension, and they
Yeah,
let her back on.
yeah.
Whereas somebody
There,
else says the wrong word in the wrong context, and they're banned for life.
and it's usually men,
Yeah.
and I hate that. And I'm gonna keep standing up for men because again, I have 5 brothers. I work with a lot of guys. They are my friends. I do not like to see it because they are literally doing to men now what they did to Muslims decades ago, and I'm not going to stand for it. You can't judge an entire group of people based on okay, yeah, there's some shitty guys out there. Most of them are not. So I'm going to stand up for men because I got 5 brothers. So you know it's unfair. They do ban men more than women. I will. Okay, you want proof of just how stubborn and annoyingly stubborn I am? Twitch has this rule where you can't say blind run through.
Hmm.
A blind run through is when you play a game for the first time and you just
Right.
like your bit. Yeah. So what I did was I put a blindfold on my eyes and played Destiny blindfolded. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they got a
Like,
problem with the term blind playthrough. That everybody knows that that word has more than one meaning, and it's not just
yes.
people who can't use their fucking eyes.
Yes. So I actually said blind play through of Destiny, and I'm wearing a blindfold. So what are you gonna do? Ban me? I'm literally blindfolded
Yeah.
playing Destiny.
For instance, here's a bit of Samuel lore. The name itself comes from a fallen angel in obscure lore. Samuel the Blind is what he's referred to, and the reason he's referred to as the blind is not because his eyes don't work. It's because he has an inability to see in shades of gray.
Ah, so
It's
he
all
sees
black
things
and white.
in black and
Yep,
white.
no shades of gray for this guy, which is how he ended up in hell with all the other fallen angels.
That is actually really cool.
You know, lesser known, you know, and that's where the name comes from. But the word blind does not just mean that your eyeballs don't work.
Yeah.
It can, but it can also mean other things. You know, for instance, I work with someone who I think you know gets a lot of leeway thrown that person's way, and I'm not going to go out of my way to like you know throw anybody under the bus or anything, but I think that my immediate supervisor has a blind spot
Ah, I
concerning
get
that
what you mean.
person. See, the word
Yeah.
means a lot of different things. His eyes work just fine, probably better than mine. You know, I'm older than he is. uh, but isn't that the weird thing?
They
Let's
also
see.
no, they
Sorry.
also said they also banned the words incel and simp. So I would sometimes when I stream be like, my cat simps for cat treats, and she is an incel because well, she was spayed when she was 6 months old. So
Isn't
yeah,
isn't wasn't simp like start out as an acronym for settling for mediocre pussy or something like that?
I don't know. All I know is you're supposedly not to say it on Twitch.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Buster's a
it's
total simp for
yeah,
her
it
cat treats.
simp is you can say it as far as I know, it's just a thing that's said on the internet to get under people's skin, like half of the things that are said on the internet. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been in Call of Duty lobbies.
No, but that's what. But with that was the internet.
Hmm.
That's just what happens, and it's yeah. But then as again, you're talking to someone who believes in total freedom of speech, where the only comments I will ban on my comments to my videos are porn and if you guess where I work.
Mm.
So
Uh,
I had someone cursing me out in a different language at one point. Didn't I didn't delete the comment. I
mhm.
won't delete the I will ignore a lot of comments. If you write 5 goddamn paragraphs why Tim Drake is bi, I'm not going to read them because I don't care. I literally made this video months ago about why Tim Drake is not bi, and I will randomly every now and then get an alert that somebody wrote 5 paragraphs. Dear God, get a life. You didn't even understand. You didn't even watch the video. And I didn't even read it. I just read like the first few lines. I'm like, you know what? I don't care.
Well, I think I saw that video, and I apologize, guys. I wasn't choking or I wasn't coughing. I was choking on my laughter. It fucking hurt. um, but
I've
yeah,
never.
no, boy, Ozzy, I have not seen
No, me neither.
Brimstone. No, I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Me neither.
So I might look for it though. I've been watching older stuff lately because new stuff sucks,
Oh
as
God.
Kat can attest to.
Oh God.
It's we're just gonna pretend it doesn't exist because it's not good. So that's which brings us back to our initial topic of conversation, Stargate. Go watch Stargate, people. It's a better show than almost everything that's out there now.
But the thing with Stargate, and which is what I've ranted multiple times about, is the fact that this show was made in the 90s. Yeah, the first season, I didn't know about the first season, but you have well developed, strong female characters. I'm tired of these women who act like this is the new thing. Or, I mean, I don't know if you were at during my live stream when I pointed out Nichelle Nichols, the
Yeah,
woman who played
yeah.
Uhura, who actually was stunning and brave.
Who
The
was a
woman who
legend?
plays, yes, the woman who plays Disa on the Rings of Power is not stunning and brave. Honey, you're nothing new. You're a black actress. Big whoop. You're nothing. You're nothing compared to Nichelle Nichols. You suck. And the funny thing is, the character isn't that bad, but it's frustrating because when I was growing up, yeah, in the 90s, it wasn't just Stargate. These were great shows,
Mhm.
and nobody was screaming, or because it was just they were good, great shows. Now,
Well,
the
again, that's part of the problem is our connectivity, and I think I mentioned this on last night's stream too. Our connectivity has its benefits, it does, but being so connected with everybody around the world at all the time has also got some serious negative side effects, like the fact that we have to know every little thought that pops into Brie Larson's fucking head,
we don't shut up. I was
right?
saying it during my live
Right?
stream.
She
You
doesn't want to know what I think all the time. I don't want to know what she thinks all the time. And the less we know about what these celebrities who are playing these characters are thinking in their real lives, the more we'll get along. The less we know about that. We don't need to know who they are. We just need to know about the characters. If they're good at their jobs, and it sounds like this chick playing Disa is good at her job because, if you're able to separate that, because that then it shouldn't matter. Like I don't care. One of the big things recently was the Johnny Depp Amber Heard, case.
yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. I honestly don't care because it sounds to me like they're both kind of shitty fucking spouses.
No,
You
but the
know,
thing isn't just that. It's you're selling a product. You're selling me a product. Every day I go to work and I work my ass off to make money so that I work really hard to make money. And now you're telling me you want me to give you my money that I worked hard for your product. Imagine if you went to a store and you wanted to buy an iPad and the
Mm.
salesperson goes up to you and says, "You idiot, Apple sucks. You need Android. Buy the Samsung one instead. What's wrong with you? Do you hate Korea? You must hate South Korea because Samsung is a Korean company. How dare you buy the Samsung tablet instead?" Well, are you going to walk out of the store with a Samsung tablet? No, you're not. You're also not going to buy an iPad. You're going to give them the middle finger and you're going to walk out. Because why the hell am I going to give you my money if you insult me? And that's the thing. One of the things is people are constantly justifying. They're like, "Oh, well, I don't hate the rings. I'm not a misogynist for hating the rings of power." You don't need to justify it. You don't. And first of all, you don't need to give people who insult you your money. And second of all, you know what? This is going to come as a shock. You can hate a show because it has a female character. Just because, I mean, there are people out there who don't like a main character female lead. You're free to do that.
Mhm.
It's your free time and your entertainment time. So they need to, and I said this in my stream, and I'm going to make a video. Shut up. They need to shut up. They need to say nice things. And honestly, anyone who says Trump in relation to their show should have their salary cut by a quarter. Oh, if you voted for Trump, we don't want you watching our show, honey.
Fine.
Your
Fine, I
salary's
won't.
cut. Yeah, but that's the thing. Fine, we won't. So instead, it's like, okay, you caused financial loss for this show.
Mhm.
We're cutting your salary.
Yeah.
Just
No, the companies that employ them absolutely should be paying more attention to the bottom line than people's virtue signaling. I absolutely agree with that. Because they are losing money. They are not, losing obviously enough for them to go away forever and never bother darken my door again. But they are losing money, and they're doing it, and it's doing it because you got these people going out. I mean, it's just go watch Stargate, people. It's a better show.
Just go watch
No,
it.
even better. I can tie that in better. Okay, so Kurt Russell did an interview earlier this year where he was talking about how his political opinions are irrelevant. He's a professional court jester,
Yes.
and that's as far as it should go. And he was
Yes.
right about that. And I bring up Kurt Russell and his statement about that, not just because he was 100% correct, but because he also played the original Colonel Jack O'Neill in this Stargate theatrical movie.
Yeah, that was such a good movie.
So,
No, but that's why I said one of the rules on my channel is you can't guess where I work, because I don't represent my employer. And if I say shit, my employer doesn't want me going around saying I work here. Yeah, she's one of us. Because they don't want you represent the company you work for.
mhm.
So even if you don't want to, you do. And that's why I'm very strict about that. Don't guess where I work. Because the company, and I told my boss, I told my manager, I said I'm separating work from this because I know that people will view me as representing them. And it's the same thing with these indies. I mean, I work for some stupid ass retail store, and I have a common sense to know not to go around saying anything about where I work. These morons make millions of dollars, work for and they don't have the common sense to realize you need to shut up. There are shows I will not watch because your actors are morons and jerks who are insulting me.
Yep, that's like I said, I stopped watching a lot of modern produced stuff. I just stopped doing it. Anything that I checked the date on everything I watched before I ever started. Anything that was made from 2015 on, there better be a damn good reason for me to start that shit, because almost all of it is ideological garbage.
Yes,
Not
I
everything.
agree.
There are gems out there, but they are few and far between. I saw this thing on Amazon the other day called The Outlaws. And at first glance, it's a very intersectional kind of show. It's about a bunch of people who get put on a work detail in England, in Bristol, I think, because they all committed various crimes or whatever. So it's like community service kind of thing.
Yeah.
They don't call it that. I think they call it community payback, but that's just because Brits are weird. But anyway, it's a surprisingly good little crime drama. It's 2 seasons long. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I didn't think I wasn't sure about it, because at first glance, it has all the check boxes for all these characters, but and even 2 of them are caricatures of extreme right and extreme left wings. But there's character growth. They're actual characters. They're people with hopes and fears and dreams, and they connect with each other on those levels. And the 2 extreme right and left ones actually become friends by the end of the show.
I gotta look into this.
It's called The Outlaws. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's, I think, 6 episodes for each season and 2 seasons, and Christopher Walken's in it,
Oh, interesting.
which is
Okay.
kind of and Stephen.
Yeah.
Do you know who Stephen Merchant is?
No.
Very very tall, skinny actor. Did you ever see Logan?
No, I actually have not
Okay,
seen Logan, and I
haven't
know
seen
it's supposed to
Logan.
be very, very good.
The British version of The Office.
Nope.
Nope.
Look, I
Okay.
play a lot of video games.
Right. Right.
As people have joked, I'm the
I
gamer
think
on every
yeah.
one of these.
You'd probably recognize him if you saw him. He is relatively famous, but he's a very, very tall, thin man with these big Coke bottle glasses. He stands out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
anyway, he wrote and produced it. He's also in it, but he wrote and produced it. It was kind of his baby, and I was a little leery about that, but as it turns out, he did a good job. It's a good show. I enjoyed it.
See, I
So
think one of the things I think people just need to enjoy writing and writing
mhm,
stories for fun. And I've complained about this because instead of approaching a project with I have an agenda or a message, just approach it. I mean I as someone who's been writing a lot of ridiculous Warframe stories, which by the way, Rings of Power has made me realize that my writing is actually halfway decent and my conversations actually make more sense because the Rings of Power is that bad and I'm not very good. But compared to the Rings of Power, that I write for fun. I
mhm,
get nothing out of it, and that's the problem. These people approach a writing project and they go, I mean, if I wanted to put agenda into the corpus and Warframe, I could easily do it because
sure,
it's I could use it as a way to say, as a low paid retail worker, I could use it as a place to complain, but I don't because I want to just have fun and write stories. And I'm like, what the hell would happen if I don't know, people tried to put human consciousness into corpus robots and would they rebel and just for the fun of it,
sure.
for
And
the
that
insanity.
that is the purpose of escapism, to escape. You shouldn't be dragging your real world problems along with you because then you're not escaping really,
Yeah.
and it serves no purpose. Escapism is important because it allows us to take a breather, and then once we've had that breather and we can come back refreshed and tackle our problems anew. I mean, that's why it's important. That's why fantasy is important. That's why the ability to step outside of your life for a minute. That's why entertainment is important. Even entertainment is like I mentioned stickball earlier. Playing in the streets and all that. That is an escape from the drudgeries of life. you
Yeah.
know it's use your imagination like you're doing with your writing, or kids playing on the playground, and that sort of thing. Anything you can do. And the problem is that there are, shall we say, forces who don't want us to be able to do that. They don't want us to be able to escape because it's crushing. It's soul crushing if you're constantly bombarded with shit all the time. It doesn't even matter what the shit is, but if you are constantly bombarded with something over and over and over and over again, even if you start out liking it, eventually you're going to get to a point where you hate it, and eventually it's going to start to break you down.
That's the thing. It's like you're not getting allies. You're making me hate you. It's like you actively are making me hate you. I'm a woman, and the stuff the feminists say are like, dear God, you're making me hate feminism. You're making me hate. It's like just wow, you are making me hate you. It's like that's not how you. I mean, imagine if every day I were to go onto YouTube and make a YouTube video about how I'm a Muslim, and oh my God, the pain, and I'm oppressed, and no one, they didn't have halal food today. And oh my God, what if there's a bar next to my job and I have to pass the bar? Did you know that? There's a bar at Applebee's. Oh my God, I need to go into therapy to deal with the emotional trauma of passing the bar. And if I were
Emotional damage.
the emotional damage and the psychological harm and the patriarchy weighing down on me, you know what? People are going to hate me. After a week of this, they're going to hate me and they're going to start hating Muslims too. It's like, I'm seriously, stop! Just stop!
Yeah.
This week has been particularly crushing between Joe Biden reminding us how apparently, because I believe in freedom, I'm now a horrible human being. Rings of Power finding out that they want to make fire fly.
Yeah, that sucks. That does. But to be fair, I am less concerned about that than I would be because it's not the first time they've done this crap. I'm kind of used to it by now. I'm a little numb to it. Um, and also, I kind of gave up on Firefly when season 2 didn't happen
So
for
Nathan
decades.
Fillion is in Destiny. At least he was in Destiny until they killed him off. He
Actually, a number of the castmates did voiceover work for DCUO too. As a matter of fact, Gina Torres was Wonder Woman in the first couple of versions of it.
in which one?
DC Universe Online.
Oh, I did not know that because I know a lot of the Firefly cast are also in Destiny. I can't remember, but I know that a lot of them. Though the sad thing is, Lance Reddick, the guy in the new Resident Evil,
Mhm.
is the voice of Commander Zavala. It's like, why? Why? You're actually pretty awesome. There's this fan meme he actually created. So there's this moment where this big Cabal commander tells Zavala to kneel. And so he actually dubbed a fan version of it where he's like, what? It's hilarious. He's like cursing around. It's like, one guardian has been kicking your collective asses for 9 years. And all I have to do is tell them that they can make a weapon out of you, or that if it's hilarious. And it's like, you were cool. You should read
Yeah,
Tolkien.
Ozzy, if you're that's how you want to be about it. That's your prerogative, man. Let me put it to you this way: I read the books. I read most of the other published works that Christopher Tolkien put out. I have not read all of his letters and various appendices, um, but I enjoyed them for what they were. And I understand their contribution to high fantasy, which wasn't really a genre until he came around, him and
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis. Prior to that, it was all sword and sorcery, which was Robert E. Howard, a whole other can of worms. By the way, Robert E. Howard's awesome. Um, and all of that. So I recognize the contribution. I enjoyed the stories. I know the characters. I know a fair amount of the lore. Um, the movies when they first came out, I saw them
Yes.
when they came out in theaters, and they were epic and they were grand in
Yes.
scope, and they are possibly some of the best made movies ever
Yeah.
in terms of like just production. They did such an amazing job on a limited budget. And then I kind of moved on with my life a little bit, and then a while back I ended up moving in with some family who are very, very, very big fans of those movies. So at least one of them is playing every night
Wow.
for years.
Oh my God.
So I have less tolerance for their live action than I did. And Carrie, yeah, I think
Yeah.
Fellowship was on like $96,000 or 96 million, something like that. But it's
Yeah.
still, by comparison to today, it wasn't anything like they spend today.
Well, that's what we were talking about during my live stream, and the fact that the budget for those three movies is smaller. Now we're not entirely sure, but for if you take into account inflation, it's like less than 300 million for all three of them. And
Mhm.
the quality, like I was comparing the costumes between the elves in those movies and the garbage that they're wearing in this show. Um, and you could say it's almost even a comparable time. The original movies were like 9 hours, and this is 8 episodes. So
Mhm.
you're telling me they had a smaller budget, and so that's why I think they burned money on this. I think that the first person who needs to be fired from this production is the person in charge of finances. This person.
Well, not to compare apples to oranges. The very first Hellraiser film, 1987, was based on a Clive Barker property. It's intense if you're not into horror. um, but they completed that movie on a $90,000 budget, and it still has better practical effects than anything Disney's putting out today.
I'm not surprised. People who with a limited budget can get very, very creative. I mean, no, I mean seriously. I was ranting about the intro to the Rings of Power. It's clear wasted money. You could have made a nicer intro for a quarter of the cost and put the money towards maybe getting a showrunner who knows what they're doing. That's why I used the comparison. I said, imagine you give a 10-year-old $1 million and you tell the kid to go into Toys R Us and buy whatever he wants. Well, the kid thinks they have all the money in the world, they're going to just throw everything into a shopping cart. They might buy a bunch of PS5 games and they don't even have a PS5 because why not? They have all the money in the world. And that's what it feels like here. It feels like they just blew money without thinking on how to use it correctly. The wardrobe looks like trash, but the CGI, they clearly went way overboard with the CGI to the point where you don't need that.
Well, and it's not like they've improved much on the CGI anyway.
No.
You know, I know I've brought this up before, guys, but I'm going to say it again. Everything in the world, in Hollywood, that, you know, any big hulking anything that has come out since Lord of the Rings, all of them looks like fucking cave trolls.
Yeah.
Every last one, because they never bothered to improve on on that technology. And at the time, you know, when Lord of the Rings came out, it was amazing. It was the peak of the peak. Weta did amazing work, and they set huge new standards for everybody. Nobody who's used their works, who's built on that since has actually built on any of it. It's all kind of regressed a little bit, you know, with some exceptions, you know, but Disney is not one of those exceptions, and also fuck Disney.
Yeah, fuck Disney. But worse,
Just,
fuck Amazon. Just if you love the project, that's the other thing. The people, what Jackson said when they were making the Lord of the Rings wasn't, they weren't trying to promote them. They wanted to show respect to Tolkien, and they wanted to create his world, not their vision, his vision. And it's like if you love the product, because one of the things that really pisses me off is they get millions of dollars for this garbage, and Galadriel is a horrible character that's nothing like Galadriel. Whereas me, I have 20 minutes of gameplay, and I gave Viso-R, who has 20 minutes of gameplay, more depth and character development that actually fits him. If you watch his 20 minutes and then you see how I grew him as a character, you can actually believe this is the same person. And I'm not getting paid anything. So someone put it out there, like, because you love Warframe, whereas these morons, all they care about is their stupid message. They don't care about the Lord of the Rings. They're just using it as a tool to promote their message.
well, and that's key. They don't care. And real quick, didn't see it, Carrie. And I did say some exceptions. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I've heard it's really good. I have it. I need to
I
sit down and watch it.
don't like a lot of anime, and I don't generally watch a lot of like live action, you know, adaptations of it. It's just aesthetically, anime is not really my thing. You know, some of it I like quite a bit, but as a whole, as a genre, it's not something I'm into. I just don't like it visually, generally speaking. You know, there are exceptions to that I really enjoy. One Punch Man, for example.
Wait, Alita was Fox though, not. I mean, at the time it wasn't. They owned it because they were competing. They were putting Alita against Captain Marvel, which the only character in Captain Marvel that was any good. I didn't watch the whole movie. I only watched the scenes with the cat.
You know what? I'm gonna push back on that. I think that cat was bullshit. That cat, that Flurkin as he was. I mean, yes, it was funny, but it completely invalidates any growth that Sam Jackson has. By the time you get to the Winter Soldier, he says, "Last time I trusted someone."
Yeah, about the eye thing that I didn't like. No, that was stupid. No, I'm not saying about the eye thing. I just like the cat because I'm biased and I like cats. I thought the eye thing was stupid as well. I'm biased. I'll admit it. I like cats. I bite.
Yeah, they said it repeatedly in that movie that is not a cat; it's a Flurkin.
I know, but it looks like a cat.
It's a Lovecraftian monster wearing the skin of a
I
cat.
know, which is awesome. A Lovecraftian cat monster. I love it. But I only saw the scenes with the cat or the Flurkin. I actually looked into the character of Goose, who's originally named Chewie, and it's actually a really cool character. And it's also female, by the way. Marvel, I thought you were elevating women, and you turned the female cat into a male. You turned the female Flurkin into a male Flurkin. What happened to the whole? You know what? You're a bunch of misogynists, said Disney. Clearly, you do not respect female Flurkins.
You know, this is part of why I stopped like reading comic books too. You know, speaking of Captain Marvel and the Flurkin, I have it's a side story in the back of one of my collections, but the Carnage symbiote, right? From Spider-Man, takes over the cat.
The cat?
Yeah.
The Flurkin.
Yeah, the Flurkin. Yeah, the Carnage symbiote takes it over. So Captain Marvel has to be swallowed by the cat to go fight him inside the cat. It was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. I was just putting that out there. It was really stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
um, but yeah, as far as Cameron goes, like he's hit or miss. He's done some really great things, and he's done some crap that I did not like. I did not like Avatar. I did not like Titanic. First of all,
Oh, I never watched Titanic.
everybody knows how that movie's going to end anyway. Why
I
would you
didn't
go?
watch it. Don't spoil it for me.
Don't spoil what happened to the Titanic for you, because
Don't
that's what
Are you
I
going to
mean.
tell me? I'm joking. I know.
Yeah, I hope you're joking because it was like huge
I'm
news for
definitely
100 years.
I'm definitely joking. I've watched a whole bunch of documentaries about the
It's
Titanic.
it's like
I
going to see Passion of the Christ and expecting a happy ending. You know,
wait. There's no happy ending. What? You're telling me no? Actually, I saw. I was watching a documentary about crucifixion, and I saw the scenes from the crucifixion of the Passion of the Christ, and I had nightmares for a very long
yeah, it's a 2-hour
time.
snuff film.
Wow. No, I
It is.
didn't even see the whole thing. I just saw the crucifixion part, and um.
Yeah, actually, it was a very well put together movie all around. But yeah, it's basically it's a very dark little piece about a very dark little time in a person's life. Whether or not you believe in the man himself as what he said he was, that whole situation was fucked up, you know. And it's not something. Yeah, don't spoil it. Yeah, you know what, Carrie? The boat sinks.
It sinks. Oh God. Now I'm never gonna watch that movie. Look, I hate romance. Look, except under certain specific like limited conditions. Um, I don't watch romantic comedies, and I hate romance stories where the whole story's about romance. I know that's odd, but I really did not want to watch Titanic. I have never watched Titanic, and I don't plan on watching Titanic because it's boring.
You know why there was a romance in that? It was to get women to go watch a boat crash and sink, and a bunch of people die. That's the only reason that was in there, because otherwise they weren't going to get the demographic they were looking for. It was
Yeah,
completely added in.
it,
And not to mention the fact that there was a documentary released on PBS, I believe, at the same time that movie was coming out. It was 4 hours long, so slightly longer than that movie, and it had much more heart to it. And at the time, the 4 remaining survivors were
I think I
interviewed on
actually
it.
saw that. I
It's
think I might have.
very good. And like, why would I go see a movie with a made up romance with characters that, whatever, it don't matter, when I could actually listen to people who were fucking there, even as
Yeah,
children, in a documentary that I thought was a better produced, and it was, obviously didn't have the big splashy, super special effects or anything, but it was just a better watch. It really was. Joan of Arc, anything about Joan of Arc, like, I know how that ends. Why would I go watch that? Like,
same. Though apparently now they're making a production where she identifies as they them.
yeah,
I'm
that's
Look,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but grammar. I'm one of those crazy people who's obsessed. I can use semicolons correctly. Okay.
Mhm.
One of the things I love about the corpus is the fact that he uses the word sagacious and lucrative. Where do you hear a video game where a character randomly uses the word sagacious and lucrative? All right.
Legacy of Kain series, 1990s.
Okay, yeah, but that's the 90s. In the 2000s, in these days and age, where most people's vocabulary has been dumbed down to stupid. Do not expect me to call you they them. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to call you plural. It is so confusing as hell. I was watching a video from The Quartering where a while back where he was referring to someone as they them, and I kept getting confused if it was rather lucrative in Fallout. Okay, sagacious. I think he also refers to his director as a visionary. Um, it was so confusing. And then apparently the New York Times refers to someone as ear. I'm like, is that a spelling error? No, no. I care about grammar. Not going to call you they them.
Yeah. Well, and that, not to mention the fact that Joan of Arc was
She.
young woman who was very, very devout in her religious beliefs, which did not include non-binary anything. And as a matter of fact, I believe that you were still being burned at the stake for any kind of gay tendencies at that point in time. Uh, or anything out of the ordinary. That's why she was burned at the stake, was because she claimed to hear voices from God, and the Church of England wasn't having it.
On top of that, one of the biggest accomplishments was the fact that she was a woman. The fact
Yeah.
that and so you're taking that away.
Right, but regardless of whether she was a woman or not, and yes, she was a woman. The fact is that it's a slap in the face to her personally, because she is
Yes,
also a very, very devout Christian who died for that
yes,
faith,
yes,
who rallied a fucking nation behind her. But she died for
yes.
that faith, and that faith is very clear on that subject, despite what some of their idiot clergy are saying these days.
Oh God, yeah.
You know,
Apparently, yeah.
so
No, I
but
agree with that too. You're right.
she'd have
No, she,
lost her shit. It started a crusade over this. You
yeah.
know?
No, well, I mean, that's why they're like, I swear, if they bring in any, and I don't mean to offend anybody, if they bring in any LGBTQ into the rings of power, I'm
That
gonna
was
lose it
yeah.
because you're disrespecting Tolkien. But then the fact that, and people are like, no, the Tolkien, the Lord of the Rings is not, because I got into an argument with someone on Twitter about it, and I'm like, the Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth is not some random fantasy realm. It's the British Isles. It's the
And
British
parts of Europe.
Isles.
And parts
Yes.
of Europe.
You can't just no,
Yeah.
no.
Well, see, and well, first of all, Ryan Kinnell's right. They're going to have to explain what happened to the genocide of all the black hobbits and black elves
Yes.
and black dwarves, because they don't exist in the Third Age. So, like what happened to them? Did the other elves? They're just like, yeah, we're going to have a little cleansing.
They're gonna remake the Lord of the Rings. That's what they're gonna do.
They
They're gonna
can't.
remake.
At this, I mean, yes, eventually that's going to happen, but it will not be Amazon doing it. Amazon does not hold the rights to that. Only Warner, was it
Yet. They
Warner
don't hold
Brothers
the
owns.
rights yet.
Yeah, well, Warner Brothers holds the movie rights to all of that,
Yeah.
all of the actual books. The only thing that Amazon has access to are some of the appendices.
I just hope that they don't figure out a way to get it, because this is Amazon and it's our mighty buddy Jeff Bezos in charge.
Yeah, Carrie, real quick, I agree that you could see that in that, but again, the man was well documented as saying that he hated allegory and he didn't believe that it made for good writing. So he would not have said that himself,
No,
I don't believe.
No, he was.
Although I do agree that he took a lot of inspiration from his experiences in World War One, and and that sort of thing. And the man was a historian, so he took inspiration from all sorts of things.
Yeah, I take inspiration from all sorts of things. With the Roe v. Wade thing, at one point, I ended up backtracking on it, but I gave my corpus characters kids because of the whole because you get inspiration from everything. It's like, you know what? I'm going to give them kids, and I'm going to make them love their kids because everyone's talking about kids.
Yeah. So, but all right. So, how did we get here from Stargate?
I have no clue. I really don't know. Wait, friend in the ROI disagrees about being British. True, I stand corrected. I just know that I meant the whole island group chain. Look, I'm an ignorant, sad American who sadly does not know enough about the UK. Yeah, I'm sorry.
As far as geographical lines go, most of Ireland is Ireland. Northern Ireland is technically still part of the British Empire. That's why they have so many problems there politically and in terms of the violence that happens there. It's because they are still on every map in the world except theirs, part of the British Empire. And the Irish who live there are very unhappy about that and all that. And so part of the island, in the Northern Ireland part, is part of the British Empire, which is why there's still conflict there. The rest of Ireland is, its own country. So
Right.
yeah,
those group of islands that are off the coast of Europe, those
sure.
islands.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm
although
also
technically Canada's still part of the British Empire, and so is Australia. So
that's true too. Yeah, I remember because they were asking Tim Pool. Tim Pool was asking about how does no. Ian was asking about how that affects. Yeah, I think it was Ian, Canada. I
Yeah. Granted. I imagine that approval is fading to be part of the UK, but you guys still have the Queen on your fucking money, you know. So,
Mhm.
uh, yeah, and there are a bunch of others. The only ones who earned their independence I say the old-fashioned way. We're the only ones who ever did it. The U.S. are completely free of the UK. We built our own empire, and it's
Yeah.
because we earned it with blood. Even the other commonwealths who are not. I mean, while they're technically part of the British, I mean, Australia's got the Union Jack in its flag,
Yeah.
for
So,
instance. Uh, they're more or less independent, but still technically part of the Commonwealth of Greater Britain.
so you know
But
the
they were
mention of the.
granted that. They were granted that. They didn't
Mhm.
fight for it, and they didn't earn it.
Though you're mentioning the Queen of England putting her face on the money, it just suddenly occurred to me, why hasn't any president of the United States decided to have a little fun the moment they go into office and do an executive order to have their face on the dollar?
Oh, you didn't see the $1 million bills with Bill Clinton's face on them?
That exists?
It's a joke, but yes, it does exist.
No, I mean for
They've
serious.
also
Why?
they've also got a $3 bill with his face on them.
What about you? I think we need $1 trillion with Joe Biden's face on it because given the inflation, we're going to soon have $1 trillion.
And that's why they put it on the 1 million with Bill Clinton, because there was rapid and massive inflation under him too. They don't like talking about that either.
Look, if
But
I if I
the $3 one was because the expression "queer" is a $3 bill.
look,
Queer in this instance meaning strange.
that used to be a thing. Now I think it's a cult.
Yeah.
Um, all I'm saying is if Buster is ever made president, she will be putting an executive order to have her fuzzy face on every form of money, all of it. $1 bill, $5, 10, 20, you name it. She's going to be replacing everyone's face for her fuzzy face. And you know what?
Eisenhower is on money. He's on a dime.
The quarter, she's going to, you know what? Just out of spite, she'll put her rear end on the quarter. Oh,
No.
God.
Fair enough. All right, folks. Well, long story short, roundabout way, go watch Stargate. It's good TV. Start with the movie, go into SG1, pretty close to the midway point, or pretty close to season 6 of SG1. SGA starts Atlantis, and they're concurrent until after the end of Stargate SG1, and then SG Atlantis runs for another season or two after that, and then after that, Stargate Universe. Go watch them in that order if possible. Enjoy the shit out of them because they're great TV. Yes, they're a little cheesy. Sometimes you can see the props moving like they're made of rubber because they are.
Do it. Watch it. Good show. Do it. Definitely worth watching. Yeah, I know about the $2 bill. I used to work in a library. We used to get them as fines.
Yeah.
Fine money.
So definitely go check that out because I know we were planning on talking. We'll do this again, and one day we'll actually have like a conversation about the characters and such beyond the obvious feminist tropes with Sam Carter, which didn't last long. And she rose above it as a character, and it became one of my favorite characters in history of television. I point to her. A lot of people point to Ellen Ripley, right, or Sarah Connor, or Pam Grier in what the hell was that movie she was in? She was a badass in. She was in a bunch of them, but I just wanted to take Jackie Brown, I think. Not a big Tarantino guy, but Jackie Brown was pretty good. I point to Sam Carter from Stargate. You want to see what a strong woman looks like who's still a woman? She's an astrophysicist. She's an Air Force colonel. Smarter than most people in the room, but still occasionally gets her ass handed to her, has faults, fails on occasion, and then learns from that and rises above, as opposed to just being automatically awesome at everything, which is important. She's not a shallow character. I like that about her. Started out that way kind of, but they fixed that in a hurry. And so go check it out. She's a great character. There's a bunch of great characters on those shows. If y'all like Jason Momoa, he got his career basically blew up after Stargate Atlantis. He came in the second season of that, did 4 seasons of it, and then his career exploded after that.
Yeah, and I'm putting it in order right now for the first season of Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis, so I can be prepared because I want to watch the stuff again because I love that show. So,
Yeah, it does cross over occasionally. It's kind of like how Deep Space Nine and TNG were running concurrently for a bit. And so sometimes there would be crossover, but most of the time you could watch them separately, but there was a timeline to it.
yeah, I remember that.
Buffy and Angel, same thing. After season 2 of Buffy, they ran concurrently, and so there were crossovers. There were things that happened in one show that affected the other, kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's great stuff. All right. All that said, I think we're probably going to call it, folks. We're a little over 2 hours here, and I have been talking for it feels like days. And I'm going to do some more tonight, kind of thing. But appreciate you guys all coming and hanging out. Thank you to Maesterchow for as long as he could be here. Thank you to Kat for coming. Thank you to Amira for stepping in and having a conversation with us. And we'll see her later on tonight. I will put her link in the description as well, for those of you who aren't familiar with her, so just in case you want to go visit the channel or whatnot. And she's having a live stream tonight at I think she said like 8:15 Pacific.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's around 11 from my.
So yeah, she's an hour ahead of me. So or an hour later. I'm an hour ahead of her. I hate time zones so fucking much.
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
Yes, I need to eat something at some point too. That's got to happen. Arc of Truth, I believe, is because I think Continuum takes place just before that, because Continuum ties up all the stuff that happened with Ball, and then Arc of Truth finishes the Ori storyline, because in the final season they had 2 concurrent storylines that were running, and they got canceled. Instead of having a season 11, they got these movies instead. So, although there's some neat shit in there. Arc of Truth, not Arc of Truth, but Continuum. They got the U.S. Navy to crash a nuclear submarine through an Arctic ice shelf. None of that that's all real when you see that on screen. It's kind of
no way.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, it's one of the few shows that's had like a ton of military correspondence and cooperation. I mean, obviously they had, consultants to make sure that either A, secrets weren't given away, or B, accuracy was ensured. But they no, like they got them to do it. They filmed it with them actually, and I think the Air Force flew over a small squadron for that shot too, or not, maybe not that shot, but another shot in the same movie. And I think they did that for them a couple of times because they had a lot of Air Force cooperation throughout the course of that show. One thing I remember on one of the DVDs that they talk about in the special features is that when it came to their consultant, there was an episode called Foothold where a bunch of aliens get into the SGU and they kind of take it over and all that stuff. And the consultant came up and he's like, look, we're really big fans of the show. We like it a lot. We think this is a great episode. It would never happen. And they're like, well, they're aliens. Obviously, it would have. No, he's like, no. Even if there were aliens, even if they attempted to, they would never gain a foothold. We wouldn't allow it. And they're like, yep, this is totally untrue because we would not allow this to happen. If aliens tried to gain a foothold in Cheyenne Mountain, we'd stop them from doing it. I just thought that was a good story.
I'm ordering seasons 1 and 2 because I've watched all of Stargate, but they're not Continuum and that other one. But this SG-1 and Atlantis I've watched. It's been a very long time, and
I think you can find Continuum and Arc of Truth for free on YouTube right now.
Oh, cool. Well, I wanna get. So I looked in, and it's gonna take 10 days, but I just found for $10 a season all of Stargate. So I'm ordering seasons 1 and 2 and seasons 1 and 2. Blazing Saddles. Somebody told me I have to see Blazing Saddles. I've never heard of it, but I'm told I have.
You haven't seen Blazing Saddles?
No.
You gotta watch Blazing Saddles.
So they told me I have to watch Blazing Saddles.
Yes, you need to watch Blazing Saddles. It is one of the greatest satires in the history of satire, and it is especially relevant these days, given how much speech is restrained and constricted by outside sources. It's an awesome movie. One of Mel Brooks' best, if you ask me.
I'm like I said, I'm going to be one of the first people lined up and shot because I do not constrain my speech. It is a problem, but I don't care, and I would rather get lined up and shot than have my speech constrained. Sorry. I'm sorry, but no. In fact, I was joking with people a couple days ago. I'm like, I was tempted to change my Twitter handle to the Hijabi Gamer, MAGA Republican, and send tweets to some of my favorite Hollywood celebrities and voice actors. Tell them how much I love their character. They're like, you really shouldn't do that. I'm like, yeah, but I'm so.
No, I think it's funny. I think it's funny if you can handle the heat. Go for it.
Well,
what
no,
are you?
no.
Sorry. I was just gonna ask.
I just.
Let's talk over each other one more time, real quick.
Okay. No. There's a voice actor who is in Warframe who I actually said it was during MAGA month where I said I love the character, and so I said I'm sure this guy was like, why am I getting a tweet from someone who has an American flag for their avatar picture, obviously in the middle of MAGA month, telling me how much they love their character when I don't want to put it out there. Put in the.
Oh yeah, check the pro chat. Oh, okay.
So it was like I'm pretty sure the person's like, I like the character. I'm able to separate the character from the artist, but I'm pretty sure the person was like, interesting. I have seen Spaceballs. I love Spaceballs, and I'm ordering a physical copy of that as well.
Yeah.
But like money doesn't go on trees, so there's a limit to how many copies of movies I can get. So
no, fair enough. I have an extensive DVD and VHS collection, but it was not bought all at once.
Yeah.
It was over time. So yeah, okay, you're gonna have to explain that, Chen. Daniel Jackson is a cockroach. Are you referring to Michael Shanks, the actor, or something that you didn't? Oh, or the fact that Daniel Jackson is apparently unkillable.
Oh yeah, and how he came when he died from the radiation.
Mm-hmm.
That wow, finding out how you die of radiation.
By the way, guys, if we spoil anything, the show's been out for fucking 25 years. It's. I think it just passed its 1997 and that. Yeah, they just did their 25th anniversary not that long ago. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Sorry about the spoilers.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't think of that because it's been out for a very, very long time.
Bo, I did know that. I did watch some Andromeda, and because she was the ship on Andromeda, I think, wasn't she? And then she played the doctor towards the end of SG-1, the base doctor. So yeah, because that's got Kevin Sorbo in it too. He plays the captain of the. Okay, gotcha. Right. Yeah, it's been a minute since I watched some of this stuff. I have seen it over and over again, but I think I just finished watching Atlantis again, so I'm a little fresher on that than I am on SG-1 or SGU. But
no, you know who also got pregnant in the middle of, and no one ever figured it out until like I think later on when they finally made the character pregnant. Scully.
Yeah.
She was from X-Files. Which is why I'm so disappointed with the FBI these days.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The only interaction I have with the FBI is the X-Files. So it's like, why?
Yeah, it's I mean, that's the magic of television. They're able to lie all they want about stuff that yeah, good stuff. But the X-Files was an excellent show. I will say that. At least it was up until all that shit that happened with Mulder towards the end of the series.
Yes.
Prior to that, yeah, it was really good. And I'm not knocking some of the guys who came on later, like Robert Patrick and I forget the name of the woman who became the new agent. I forget her name off the top of my head, but I don't.
Oh my god! Damn it! Sorry about that. Oh, wait, you didn't hear it?
No.
Okay, good, because I was trying to I was checking to see if Rings of Power had any reviews on Amazon, and all of a sudden it started playing goddamn music from the stupid thing. I was afraid it would um it would no it it
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, like that's pretty typical in television. When
yes,
somebody gets
Gates and
pregnant,
Prince.
they start changing things and all that stuff. And was it Charisma Carpenter on Angel?
Oh
Ended up
yes,
pregnant towards the middle of the third season or whatever, or third somewhere between third and fourth season. And she spends the fourth season being pregnant, so they wrote it into the show, but then they killed her character off in the fifth season because the producers were somewhat pissed at her about it. The whole thing was a nasty can of worms involving, Joss Whedon and a bunch of other shit. Um, and that's also why the fourth season is kind of a mess. You can tell that there was some bad blood going on because the writing is all over the fucking place. Fifth season makes up for it in a lot of ways, but they did kill Cordy off because the actress, got pregnant and pissed off the people who were making the show. Um, and I think that wasn't great because she was great. She was an integral part of the show. I think they fucked up when they wrote her off.
it
But
looks like.
hmm?
Oh, it looks like I mean, I'm just seeing the title, but it looks like Gina Carano was just forced off of Twitter. We were talking about it yesterday on around Royal Rumble. We
Yeah,
noticed that
they mentioned
she
that on Friday Night Tights too. That she was off. I checked my Twitter yesterday. I haven't checked it today, but I checked it yesterday, and I was still subbed to her, and it still told me that her account was active, but none of the tweets were there. Like they were all just gone.
I every time I tried to look her up, it wouldn't even bring up any result. Well, it would bring up stuff like, um, Gina Carano Net, the #1 fan source.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
we were
if her channel is, or if her handle has been deleted, that was probably done by her. Um, you know, and honestly, she's gonna have a lot of backlash coming her way. My son Hunter comes out in like a day or so.
That's what they were saying, that it
Yeah,
was they thought it had something to do with that.
yeah. So that's most likely what it's gonna be. Um, but yeah, fellas. So we're gonna close it out so that everybody can go get some dinner before the Lioness's show, um, and all that. Carrie's gonna miss the ending. That's all right. Carrie's in the background. I can yak at him in a minute. Um, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, do the things. Leave comments, please. Or don't. But I'd prefer that you do. If you hate the content, tell me. If you don't, tell me. I'll accept praise too. Praise is good. you know, if you're just kind of mediocre on it, that's fine too. Um, so we will be getting out of here. Thanks for coming to our Stargate discussion that ranged all over the place. And I appreciate y'all, each and every one of you. We're doing this because it's fun. And as long as it's still fun, we'll keep doing it.
Dancing monkeys.
Cat is going to be the dancing monkey today. And that said, did you have anything you wanted to plug?
Just my channel and Joker's voice channel, because we're trying to get him to 500. I think he's 20 away from 300, so the goal is for us to get him to 500. I will post his channel on my community tab so we can get him to 500, because it's
Yeah,
too old.
and hey, just not out of enlightened self-interest, feel free to plug us too.
Oh no, I have plugged you, and I will keep plugging. I'm trying to plug everyone. I want to. I mean, I want everyone else, I want
No,
cool
absolutely.
people to be elevated. So no, I have been plugging you guys. I've been tweeting when I see the alert. I've been tweeting it. I do know. I don't know why Alexia isn't here.
I
And Shadowhawk.
I don't
Really,
know.
guys?
They might have had other things to do.
True.
I'm not gonna complain about everybody's got lives. So um, or maybe they just don't like my face because I haven't shown it to them. That's fine too. You know, that's It's totally fine. I have one thing that I would like to mention. I did do a solo stream last night. I am going to continue to do solo streams, but they will not be necessarily scheduled. They will happen when they happen, and they will not all be political like last night's was. And hopefully, they won't, be just droning on and on and on like I was last night. I think I said some things that are important, but
check it
and
out.
I'd say go check it out. I have titled this new series. Right now, we're on Screaming into the Void. The new series is Whispering in the Dark.
I
I
love
know,
that.
because I like things that work well together. So yeah, go check that out too. The first one's up on the channel, and then we'll see how it happens after that. Meantime, you can always find us here weekly on Screaming into the Void on Saturday afternoons. And we love having you guys. We love talking about these things. And yeah, that's really all I got today. Thank you again for coming, Kat. Thank everybody who has been on the panel today, everybody in chat. And remember, folks, YouTube, it could always be worse. It could be raining flaming cobras. Good
You
night.
know what? I want the flaming cobras. You know